In a corner of one empire on some garbage dump, two people are looking for something. One of them swears and claims that today everything is in vain again. But his interlocutor claims that they found out from somewhere and are taking orphans with abilities. Another says that making a living is not an easy task. At that very moment, he notices something moving in the bag. And when he opens it, then he sees the baby sleeping on the floor. The man also notices her strength, and his interlocutor claims that she looks like a saint, after which the two rejoice at such good luck. One of them claims that they will eat beef for dinner today, and the girl wonders if it's time to go to work part-time. She also doesn't understand why the alarm clock is so loud today. A little while later, the little girl realizes that everything is bad and repeats this to herself. The boy sitting next to her asks if Aisha is okay, and the girl replies that she is not. The lady looks out the window and realizes that someone has been sold to the aristocrats again. One of the temple workers says that this child has great power, so the effect of air purification will be noticeable. The boy sitting next to the main character tells her not to worry, because she too will be quickly sold at a high price, and she has the most power in their temple. But the girl replies that this is not the problem. Her interlocutor asks what it is then, and whether the bread is really too hard. Aisha wonders if he doesn't understand what the problem is, after which she starts screaming. With tears in her eyes, the lady realizes she is the ex-wife of the protagonist of a fantasy romance novel, and she moved into a novella called Lotus Blooming in the Mud. The little girl read that novella, and when she first saw the review, it was written there that this man does not know romance. This is the hottest novella of all that she has read. These are new horizons in the world of romantic fantasy, so she will give them a stellar rating. The main character wondered what this meant. The girl lived in a small room, working part-time at a convenience store. Her only hobby was reading romantic fantasy, and this novella suited her because it was short and cheap. What awaited her with complete anticipation was the incredible useless deeds of potatoes. In the first half of the novella, Saint Aisha fell into eternal sleep. The girl's ex-husband, and also the main character named Mercedes, and Sophie Wren, who was a candidate for sainthood, and also Aisha's friend, they cannot forget the girl and are engaged in useless affairs. Even during the kiss, Sophie claimed that she couldn't kiss when Aisha couldn't. While eating on a date when the man looked at the food, he claimed that the fried eggs reminded him of the color of Aisha's eyes. Until this moment, she had endured with gritting her teeth because she felt sorry for the money. But in the middle, something happened that destroyed her patience, and one of the characters in the novella, called Lotus Blooming in the Mud, he fell into eternal sleep at the age of 22. He was the son of Duke Bastian. In this family, there were many unexpected plunges into eternal sleep without reason, which the people of the empire considered insignificant. But Sophie, a candidate for sainthood, sensed something different. She informed the protagonist of this, and she claimed to have felt the remnants of a huge explosion. But her interlocutor replied that he didn't understand what she was talking about. The girl said that it was a different energy, but it felt close to how Aisha felt when she plunged into eternal sleep, and she is not mistaken. Aisha fell into eternal sleep, not because her powers disappeared, but because there were too many of them. That's why they became so powerful. That they could not be contained in one human body is why she plunged into eternal sleep. After which, Sophie and Mercedes' gazes met, and the lovers realized that at that moment, they were thinking about the same thing, about how they must uncover the truth about Aisha. The main character reading all this almost lost her temper, after which she actually screamed when they would finally kiss. The moment the lady said this and threw the book down, then it bounced off the wall and began to fly back at the girl, who looked at it with bewilderment. The main character fainted because the corner of the book hit her on the head, and it came to this situation. According to the original story, she will fall into an eternal sleep at a young age due to an explosion of powers. But the girl understands that she does not want this and must survive. She was lucky that the prologue had a way for her to survive, and that was a wedding with a direct descendant of the demon that is Bastian. What stopped Aisha's overwhelming sacred power was the opposing magical power. As befits the descendant of a demon, Bastian is an enviable groom who is filled with enchanting magic. Therefore, first, in order to get married, she needs to get out of this temple. The main character turns to the boy and asks if he keeps ink. The young man replies that, yes. She asks what happened, and the lady asks to lend them to her today. The girl also thinks that Levi Bastian should just wait, because she will catch him in her nets, and he will also fulfill his goal of marriage. At this time, the young man wonders if anyone is talking about him. A little while later, one of the temple workers goes to the door, and when he opens it, then she screams, "What kind of nonsense is this?" and asks if Aisha is really sick. One of the girls turns to Father William, after which she invites him to look there, since she has difficulty breathing and a high temperature, and a rash is clearly visible on her hands, after which the main character coughs up a red liquid, and the girl screams that it is the plague. The two workers immediately retreat and hide behind William. The little girl understands that they are like frightened children, but the more powerful a person is, the harder it is for them to get sick. These supposed priests are shaking so much because they are afraid of getting the plague, after which the little girl comes up to them and coughs. William screams for them to get rid of her quickly before the others get infected, to which they agree. A short time later, two priests carry the baby away as they throw her on the floor. Then one of the workers says that he thought everything was great, but it turned out that everything was just terrible. His interlocutor claims that this is true because they were thinking about raising her and then selling her. At this time, the main character wonders if they have already left, after which she spits out red liquid from her mouth. She also thinks it's incredibly tasteless, but thanks to her inspired play and Tom's ink, her escape is successful. Now the problem is how to find the Duke. But at that moment, the girl turns around and sees a pack of wolves running towards her. But when one of them approaches the baby and sniffs her, he still does not attack. At this time, the main character extends her hands and with a smile on her face tells the kids to come to her. At the same moment, the wolves begin to joyfully lick these, and the girl thinks that maybe because there is a lot of strength in this body, but the animals love her. No matter how fierce the beast is, it will wag its tail and come closer. After which, the main character pets one of the wolves and greets him, and also asks if he is the leader. The lady also asks if he by any chance knows Duke Bastian, after which the wolf nods. The little girl wonders if this is true and asks how he knows. Then the wolf imitates a demon with his body. The main character wonders if he knows him, because she is terribly afraid, and that means he knows where he is. The lady also apologizes to the baby, but asks if he can take her there. A little while later, the girl is already riding a wolf, and they are approaching the estate of Duke Bastian's. The main character realizes that this is the outskirts of the capital. The imperial family, after all, has high status since they founded the country, so the girl doesn't understand why they're in such a place. Aisha thinks that it can't be, because they have a terrible character, and that's why they were kicked out. The baby also thanks the wolf for bringing her and strokes his head. But at the same moment, she sees how the other members of the pack also want praise, and the girl with a smile on her face strokes them all and thanks them for their concern. But she also claims that she has no other way. The girl also says that now they should leave. Well, at that very moment, someone else appears behind the little girl and claims that the children and animals have gathered together. He had no idea his courtyard was so popular. This man is a duke named Wolfgang Bastian. The main character looking at him understands that he is an excellent, cold, handsome man. The girl also doesn't understand how he can be a minor character with such a face, and her interlocutor asks who this little miss is. The girl immediately bows and greets His Excellency. She also claims that her name is Aisha, and the man says that this is how it is, after which he asks if she knows where she came. The girl with a smile on her face replies that she heard that her future husband is there, and her interlocutor is shocked by this, after which he asks if she really wants to fool him in order to plunge him into eternal sleep. The main character replies that this is not true, after which the man asks how old she is, and the lady replies that she is 9. The Duke thinks about this, and then suggests getting rid of this straw mat first. Well, the main character replies that she doesn't want to, and the man asks why. The girl mentally replies that it is because it is very mean, but the man reaches out his hand to her, after which he pulls the girl by the cloak and asks which temple she ran away from. The main character is shocked, wondering how he found out and what she should do now. The man insists her power can't come from there. That is why it flows like a stream, and in this case takes one to the temple as soon as the child is born. The main character understands that, just as she feels the magical power of His Excellency, the Duke knows about her village. The girl also thinks that she wanted to hide the fact that she left the temple, and in her thoughts, asks him not to send her back. At this time, the man wonders if they really starve people in churches in their time, and the little girl asks what he's talking about, after which they end up in the air, and the baby screams in shock. The main character wonders if she is really flying now, and at the same moment, the man pushes off from several trees, after which they find themselves near the mansion. At this time, on the roof of the mansion, someone screams that it is the flying man who is ignoring his words. A cold, handsome man with black hair. The Duke lands near the roof, and his interlocutor wonders if he has escaped through the window again while working. This man's name is Benjamin Cooper, and he is Wolfgang's assistant. The Duke replies that it was not an escape, but Benjamin wonders if it was from attacks. He also says that if the Duke does this every time, he will definitely write a resignation letter and fly away. But at that very moment, he sees in front of him a ring with a huge diamond, and his master claims that he picked it up while he was walking. The guy with green hair asks if he really picked it up, to which his interlocutor replies that yes, he often finds something. After which he even claims that this is a candidate for daughter-in-law, and then they will go. At this time, the main character turns to His Excellency and asks where they are going. The man replies that they are going to eat, and at that moment, he enters a luxurious room. Then he snaps his fingers and calls Hugo. The butler immediately appears and asks if His Excellency called. When a man says the word food, the Highlander does not care whether he is talking about food for the young lady, and the Duke also tells them to prepare a blanket. Hugo claims that he will prepare a blanket and slippers that will suit Miss, and also light the fireplace the main characters. Despite the butler's grandfather understand that he is so good, the girl also thinks that the Duke ordered warm clothes and food to be prepared. He probably brought her because she looks pathetic, and then the little girl claims that she looks like she has a cold. Well, her interlocutor says that with such force, even if she plunges into icy water, she will be fine. At the same moment, someone else approaches the owner and asks if he can come in, after which the man replies that yes. Then the maids come into the room with food, and when the main character looks at all this, she is delighted. One of the maids asks the miss to let them wrap her in a blanket, and the girl thanks them. At this time, the Duke tells the baby to eat and warm herself, after which the girl thanks him, but claims that the master said so, that even if she falls into icy water, she won't get sick. The man takes a sip of tea, after which they claim that this is true, but that doesn't mean she doesn't feel the cold. The main character understands that in this world there is no kindness without reason, and such a kind attitude means that he accepts her as a daughter-in-law. When the main character eats the dish, she tells her future father-in-law that it is very tasty, and the man asks what she said. The girl replies that she called him her future father-in-law, but he asks why she calls him that. The baby says that he called her daughter-in-law earlier, and she has a chance to become a daughter-in-law. The man just looks at the girl silently, and 5 minutes later, the main character asks if something is wrong. The man insists that unfortunately, this is impossible. Aisha claims she didn't hear him and asks him to repeat. Well, her interlocutors once again insist that this is impossible, and the little girl wonders what the most cruel torture in the world is. She realizes these are false hopes. The man sighs and insists that there is a possibility. The main character immediately gets up and asks if this is true, but her interlocutor claims that the chances of success are low. Aisha also understands that he acted as if he could easily arrange a marriage, but now he has suddenly erected a wall. The little girl turns to the Duke and understands that it is not for nothing that he is the Duke who controls the fortress. But this is similar to the owner who is called a demon or a devil. The Duchy of Bastion also has a serious nickname. It is a dam of monsters. The northernmost part of the continent is a location that borders the Forest of Sorrow, and the only site of a monster outbreak. Because of this, they faced countless monsters that filled the house every day. This land became alienated, but more powerful than anywhere else on the continent. The Duke was especially known at that time as a monster that plunged into eternal sleep. But the main character understands that she still can't give up just like that, and says that he will regret it. The man asks what she's talking about, baby, and repeats again that he'll regret it if he lets her go. Her interlocutor asks why, to which the lady replies that, firstly, she has a lot of strength, and she is sweet, and she's also younger. The man is interested in what younger means, since Franz is the same age as her. Aisha asks if he really said Franz, and the man asks if she really doesn't even know the name of her supposed husband, since this is his second son. The main character remembers that this is indeed the case, and wonders if her brother-in-law is also a contender, and the man asks what she is talking about. The main character immediately states that she wants the place of Sarkshir's daughter-in-law, but a little while later, she already finds herself in some room. Aisha wonders if this is too much because the man laughed and told her to go to the maid's room. Typically, in romantic fantasy stories, the father-in-law acts as if he is paving a flowery path into the world, but he should have offered her 120 million and all the documents for the property and jewelry. But now the main character approaches her bed and, lying down, realizes that nothing can be done. She also needed to come up with a plan. The saint's rise to the rank of last princess occurred at age 14. The reason for the girl's immersion in eternal sleep was the overwhelming power, and even if the explosion of power could be prevented, contact with Bastion, which is full of magical powers, then what will happen to the flowering? This is flowering, a term which denotes the violent flourishing of forces and clarifies the meaning of lumiere. Blooming was a sign that you could show off, and usually the gray-haired cardinal had to think about whether it was worth blooming several times or not. And here was a 14-year-old girl in her prime, and it was a sensation. While everything doesn't correspond to the original novel, it's unclear how much her powers will grow in the future and how everything will develop. Well, in any case, she is thinking about marriage, because now the only solution is to marry young Bastion. If it flourishes, many authorities, including the imperial family, will want to take possession of it. The only thing that can stop such forces is the most powerful devil, Prince Bastion. The little girl already imagines how she will run to her beloved, and he will ask if she is okay. And the girl will answer that powerful people are persecuting her, to which he will answer that he will solve everything. Now the main character realizes that this is wonderful. She even enjoys imagining it. And so began the first night at the estate. The next morning, the main character is already heading to the Duke's door, after which she realizes that she needs to knock briefly, then confidently enter and briskly open the curtains. The man begins to wake up at this point. The main character at the same moment wishes him good morning, but he only turns around and asks who opened the curtains. The little girl turns to her father-in-law with a smile on her face and understands that the first step in conquering Bastion is to win over the head of the house. At this time, the man is wondering what it is, but the little girl tells the gentleman to get up faster. It was already past 9 a.m. Her interlocutor asked what kind of clothes she was wearing, and the little girl replies that the maids sewed extra clothes for her. The main character also, with a smile on her face, wonders if everyone knows how to survive without having a single thing. The first is friendliness, and the second is also friendliness. The lady lived receiving compliments about her good character, and it was this body that melted the hearts of all the aunties of Korea. That is, it was easier to simply capture the heart of the inhabitants of the mansion this morning. Near the maids, the little girl showed the Duke, and she gave the butler a massage. The baby also understands that the next target is, of course, the Duke himself. The girl immediately smiles the smile of a little saint that she has been practicing since the morning, and asks him how it is. Well, the man indifferently replies that she looks like a dog, and the little girl replies that, of course, she looks like a puppy. At this time, the man gets out of bed and asks who this person is who helped her to carry out all this so recklessly. The main character asks him not to scold Grandpa Hugo, because she was the one who threw it away. The man asks if she's talking about the butler, and the main character claims that since they're talking about it, how difficult can it be with him if Bet and Joan said they'd rather clean the bathroom than go wake up the master. But they say that every morning he is filled with anger, so they broke 5 teacups because his hands were shaking. She also heard that these were very expensive cups imported from abroad. Grandfather Hugo also said he was upset about the cups breaking, so she felt he was somewhat to blame for her current situation. The Duke said that starting with telling her about himself and ending with such a pointless conversation. But at the same moment, the main character tells her father-in-law to get up, and the man says that she is useless and stubborn. Aisha wonders if he really has hypotension and understands that she should support the Duke's hand. The man notices this and then raises his hand along with the baby. The main character, in shock, asks what he is doing, and the man asks if she didn't grab him so he could give her a ride. Aisha replies that she wanted to support him by the arm and asks her father-in-law if he could let her go. But her interlocutor replies that she did say that she would support him. The little girl at the same moment claims that it seems he doesn't need it, but her interlocutor replies that he does. He also asks, "What about breakfast?" The little girl apologizes and claims that she was going to ask earlier. after which the Duke lowers her to the floor, and the girl asks whether he will have breakfast in the room or in the dining room, but the man replies that he is not talking about that. He asks if she's had breakfast. Aisha replies that the maids gave her cookies, but her interlocutor says that a snack isn't a meal. He also suggests that the baby wait 30 minutes, and a little while later he is already changing. Aisha says that the gentleman quickly washed himself, but the man replies that it was because of hunger, after which they go out into the hallway and head somewhere. The little girl realizes that the dining room is in that direction. When these two enter the room, Hugo immediately greets the owner. The man says that the butler did something useless, but he replies that this cannot be. The little girl immediately apologizes to her grandfather, and he replies that everything is fine, after which the Duke tells the little girl to sit down and agrees to something. Aisha understands that it seems he wants to eat only with her. Well, when the little girl looks at this long table, he says it's much tastier when we eat together. The Duke claims that if she's looking for children, well, the little girl at the same moment claims that she heard something and wonders if her husband is at the academy and her brother-in-law is at the Bastion estate. The man asks how she knows about the lady, and she replies that she asked the maids, after which he smiles and claims that all the family affairs were stolen overnight in the morning. Aisha, looking at the Duke, understands that he has such a kind face and unkind words, but this is a signal of resistance to the charm. If this continues, Bastion will be in her hands. But at that very moment, wolves burst into the room and then stand on the table, after which they start to howl about how hungry they are, and the main character watches in shock. And the Duke wonders what this situation is. A little while later, the main character is already heading somewhere, after which she takes a deep breath and screams out to the boys. The wolves immediately run up to the lady, and the girl opens the bag of food and offers to share it together. The main character realizes that yesterday she almost fell into eternal sleep. The lady also told the boys that this was not her house, so she could not be there with them, and apologized by stroking their heads. The Duke asked if she really wanted to take care of them, and the little girl asked what he was talking about. The man asked again if she wanted to look after them, but the little girl answered yes, but at that very moment she closed her mouth, and she asked if they wouldn't interfere. The man replied that they would do so, let the wolves stay on the mountainside, and in any case, these animals live in the mountains, so there will be no problems, and moreover, the security of the house will become stricter, and with one shot they will kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but in exchange she will be the one doing the feeding. The main character wonders if this is really the case when she is allowed to have pets. In her past life, she was too busy feeding herself and didn't even dare to have a pet. Well then, the main character says that since she now cares about them, she needs to come up with names for them. The girl realizes that there are 12 of them, after which she realizes that it is easy and names the wolves by the months of the year. It was incredible when he heard it, but it was even more amazing to see it with his own eyes. And the girl asks if it's true. Her interlocutor claims that there was no opportunity yesterday, so now he wants to introduce himself properly. The man bows and states that he is an assistant to His Excellency Duke Bastion, and his name is Benjamin Cooper. The main character greets him and states that her name is Aisha, and he can also speak informally. Her interlocutor asks how he can afford such a thing, considering she is His Excellency's future daughter-in-law. Well, the little girl replies that now she is just a contender, who will definitely be chosen. In response to this, her interlocutor laughs, after which everyone apologizes and says that the little girl is just speaking so intelligently at such a young age. The main character replies that she understands, and since he works with her father-in-law, he probably has little reason to laugh. Well, at that very moment, her interlocutor begins to laugh even more, and Aisha understands that he apparently really doesn't laugh much, but she doesn't understand why he finds it so funny. The lady also understands that judging by the bruises under his eyes, he doesn't have much time. At this time, the man asks for forgiveness, but the little girl turns to Benjamin and asks if he knows which animal spends a lot. Her interlocutor asks whether there are other animals besides humans that have higher intelligence and consume resources to satisfy their desires. But the little girl replies that the answer is a lion. And then she also asks if he knows the name of the soup that is made from lion. Her interlocutor asks what its name is, and Aisha replies that it is called the Kingdom of Animals, and the man immediately falls down laughing. The little girl then turns to Benjamin and claims that she knows a lot of funny jokes. He asks if this is true, and the girl understands that she has her first colleague in her pocket. A little while later, they are already heading down the corridor, and the man asks why the lady is wearing a maid's costume. The girl replies that she is learning to be a bride, and that it is easier to lure her father-in-law. Her interlocutor asks if she has the concept of a modest daughter-in-law, and the girl replies that it's something like that. At this time, she also sees a maid heading down the corridor and immediately runs up to her. The girl also asks if she can take it, and Joan asks if she will take it to the owner. The woman claims that the butler told her to let her do whatever she wanted, but the little girl claims that she was unable to have a normal dinner with the Duke this morning, after which she even asks to give her a chance. "Hey," the woman says. "Okay," after which she tells the girl to be more careful. It's heavy, but the girl just takes the tray with a smile on her face. However, when she feels how heavy it is, she cannot keep her balance, after which everything on the tray falls to the floor. The maid asks if Aisha is okay, and the little girl tears in her eyes, answers that she is not. At the same moment, someone else wonders what this sound is, and the main character realizes that it is the Duke. The man picks up the girl and says that she really does all sorts of things. He also says to bring a new meal, to which the maid agrees. The Duke also turns to Benjamin Cooper and asks if he has now decided to be late without permission, but his interlocutor replies that this is better than saying that you don't want to work and running out the windows. Benjamin says that he is going to sew his mouth shut anyway. When the little girl sits down at the table with the Duke, she is surprised by how many papers there are, and now she understands why Benjamin's lungs are torn. The Duke then remarks that for a modest daughter-in-law, her outfit looks too tacky, and the girl apologizes. She also claims that she broke the cups, but her interlocutor replies that it's nothing serious, and the little girl asks if that's true. The girl also understands that they looked so expensive, after which she keeps looking at Benjamin, as if telling him to come over there and help her, after which the man does just that, but then he starts laughing and saying how pretty the girl is. It's very obvious he's not being sincere. Benjamin also says he doesn't even know who will get such a daughter-in-law, but he's the luckiest man on the continent. However, the Duke turns to his assistant and suggests that he take on the work. When he leaves, the main character thinks what a useless guy he is. The little girl also looks at the Duke's documents and notices that his first and last name are written there. And while the girl smiles happily and the man hands her cookies, the lady wonders if he is really telling her to eat them. The baby starts to eat the treat, but at that very moment, she hears someone laughing. She looks at these two and wonders who laughed at her eating cookies. The little girl immediately takes another cookie and hands it to the Duke, after which she claims that there is only one, and it is not tasty. The man asks what's wrong with that lady, and asks him to open his mouth and say, after which he puts a cookie in his mouth. But when he notices the Duke's reaction, he asks if he doesn't like sweets. The man replies that he doesn't really, and the lady asks if he loves too, which he again replies that he doesn't really. Aisha turns to her father-in-law and claims that she has finally found something she can do. She takes another cookie and hands it to the Duke, and a little while later, she is already running with an empty plate. And she wonders what this ultimately means, and whether he likes sweets or not. The girl asked Grandpa Hugo, whom she met by chance. The lady understands that there really is something there, even if she doesn't know what she still doesn't know. But at that very moment, someone approaches the baby from behind, after which he pushes her. It turns out to be another girl, after which she apologizes. And she says the girl is so small that she didn't notice her. The main character just smiles after that, and she asks if that's true. The other little maids ask what's wrong with her, since she's a girl who isn't even crying, after which one of them invites her friends to go. The main character realizes she hasn't been neglected in a long time. She certainly understands their behavior, because she appeared out of nowhere, and even gained the trust of the leaders. Well, despite this, she still feels annoyed, because she almost twisted her knee. As the next mistress of Bastion, she must set an example. A short time later, they are all sitting around a cup of tea. One of the ladies says that Aisha is so funny, and the other replies that yes, and she is glad that they became friends. The main character thanks them with a smile on her face, and claims that she is glad that they became friends with her despite hating her. One of the ladies then apologizes for pushing her in the hallway, but that's it. But when the ladies look at their friend, she only asks what's wrong. The protagonist understands that she only needs to look at her angry gaze. After all this, girl acts as if Aisha has plunged her entire family into eternal sleep. Those two bullied her because she was small, but the girl didn't understand why this lady hated her so much. She also claims that if you look at it that way, there are so many handsome guys in the Bastion family. One of the maids asks if Aisha saw it too, and the other says that it's true, and they're all so beautiful that you can choke on your saliva. If you go and watch them during training, you can see their naked bodies, so let her wait for that. The main character asks if the Duke is not the most handsome in terms of his face. He is the most handsome of those she has ever seen, but other ladies say that the owner is very scary. The main character remembers the Duke and understands that this is true, because Wolfgang is simply Duke Bastion to me. He is infused with the devil's red fluid and is also known as the demon Duke Bastion. Initially, the great sky god Lumer was on the side of the great devil Noir. The great devil Noir abandoned his place as a god and decided to live and enter into eternal sleep as a humanu. The first lord of the Bastion estate, and also the owner of the alienated Winterland, did so, because he fell in love with Roxanne Bastion. From the day Noir descended from heaven and entered the Bastion estate, he no longer called upon God. The fallen god was condemned by the believers, and soon after he descended, it was said that monsters began to appear on this earth, like mushrooms after rain. He was not welcome to be seen, and countless people were wounded and also plunged into eternal sleep. And then one day, even the first owner of the Bastion, for some unknown reason, unexpectedly fell into an eternal sleep. One might wonder what happened to Noir after this, but it is unknown. Nobody knows the truth, and he just completely disappeared. But the most popular theory is that he is buried in a grave with his wife. That's why his magic still works to this day. And they say that at present, this is the only place where the monsters of the Forest of Grief live. In any case, Duke Bastion had a lot of worries because of this magnificent background. But apparently, thanks to the demon's red liquid, people instinctively feared him and found him a difficult person. At the same moment, the man with blonde hair tells the girl not to speak disrespectfully about the owner. Well, her interlocutor says that it's starting again, because really, can't you even say that he's scary? The blonde replies that it's impossible, because how can such worthless people like them even talk about the owner? Other men aren't even comparable to the owner, and it's simply ridiculous. When they start speaking badly to each other, the main character tells the girls not to fight because of her. One of the maids tells the girl not to cry because it's not her fault, and the other one points to the blonde and says that this is true and it's all because of her. The lady with the blonde hair says that they are just being funny. Weren't they the ones asking when they would make fun of her? The main character immediately approaches this girl and claims that Kim and Sarah have already apologized several times. After all, she hasn't apologized yet, so the main character looks at her as if telling her to apologize while she speaks nicely. The blonde immediately gets up from her seat and leaves irritably. One of the maids apologizes to Aisha again, to which the main character replies that everything is fine, because they have already apologized more than 20 times. Well, her interlocutor claims that it seems Bibi is jealous because she is very beautiful. The main character says that this can't be, but her interlocutor replies that it's true, and their colleague feels threatened. Another girl claims that spring is coming soon, but the main character wonders what that has to do with it. Her interlocutor says that there will be holidays at the academy. This means that the elder young master will return, and Bibi likes him. The main character wonders if this scoundrel instinctively sensed a rival. A little while later, the butler announces that the eldest young master will finally return tomorrow. He also tells the servants not to relax and to work hard at their posts, to which they agree. The main character understands that she is just returning to an 11-year-old baby, and everyone is trying so hard. At this time, someone claims that this is because the next owner of the house is returning. The girl turns around and sees Grandpa Hugo there. The man, smiling, says that the lady is up early today, and the little girl replies that she's very diligent. At that moment, she turns to look at the clock and realizes that it is already 9 o'clock. The baby also says that, then she will go, and understands that this is her 3rd week of stay at the Bastion estate. She hasn't made much progress in the relationship, but now she can awaken super beauty once. She also knows how to deal with her rival, because a little while ago, the girl was waiting for her with a bucket of water. Well, the main character noticed this and deftly pulled out an umbrella. The little girl also realized there was something new. A little while later, she runs up to Uncle Tony. A few days earlier, the man had complained that the mare wasn't eating and that this was a problem. He also claimed that because of her pregnancy, she became more ferocious, and it was impossible to even approach her. But then the man saw the little girl communicating with the wolves, after which he turned to her, and he asked how the little girl became friends with such a ferocious beast as a wolf. The main character understood that she couldn't say that it was because of her strength, and thought about what to answer, and also claimed that it was talent. Her interlocutor asked if she could use her talent in his stable for once, and that's what happened. The girl approached the horse and said that it was her, after which she asked how she was feeling today. She also asked if the contractions were causing her difficulty. The main character understood that a mare's gestation period is 11 months, and the mare named Queensberry was also due to give birth after a long time. Aisha claimed that she knew it was hard for her, but let her drink some water. The groom said what a relief it was that the lady had come since he couldn't approach her because the horse was sensitive. The main character replied that it was not worth it because she was glad that she could help. She also claimed that a foal would probably be born tonight or tomorrow by dawn, and the man asked if this was true. Then the main character insisted she'd sleep there that night. Her companion, shocked, asked what she was talking about, and the little girl asked if she could eat. The groom replied that no, and he would be grateful, but he felt somehow uncomfortable. However, the main character said that in return, he should praise her in front of the Duke just once. Her interlocutor asked why just once, since he would praise her until his jaw dropped. That same evening, the main character noticed the horse shaking and asked if it was in much pain. She also said that she needed to sleep, but the horse still couldn't because of the pain, after which she kept offering to chat with him all night, to which she agreed. The main character asked where the horse's husband was because she would have torn out his hair, or rather his mane. The main character also asked if she was saying that he had business outside the home, and that this negligent husband left his wife alone and ran off somewhere. Well then, the horse said something else, and the main character asked if he was really handsome and sweet, and people were only looking at her, and now they were just busy with work. Aisha also says that you just have to look at how she takes care of her husband, and the girl understands that family is so great. The little girl also understands that she also needs to get married quickly, but at that very moment, she hears the horse scream. Aisha wonders if the baby is really coming out, after which she immediately tells the horse that she will pull and let her push. And after 3 hours, the main character says that there is still a little time left, after which the baby is born. The main character immediately congratulates the horse and says that she will call Uncle Tony, but when the girl opens the door, she sees a horse's hooves in front of her, after which she even sees a boy who says to Ignite stepped on this creature. It was a stunning first encounter with her husband. The protagonist opens her eyes and realizes there was sound, but no pain. At this time, someone turns to Levi, and it turns out to be the Duke, and the boy says that he has returned. The man says it's clear, and the main character falls to the floor and realizes that she almost fell into eternal sleep. The boy at this time points to the girl, and then claims that he will plunge her into eternal sleep. The man asks why his interlocutor already replies that he sees this face for the first time in the estate, and that it is dangerous, and also that she smells of the red liquid Queensberry. The Duke says that it is unknown whether she harmed Queensberry, and the main character wonders what is wrong with this father-in-law. However, the Duke asks what if the girl did not cause harm but helped her? And then, is this normal? To which the boy replies that it probably is. The main character says that it's probably not true. She also says that Ignite says that he wants to see his wife and child as soon as possible. The boy asks what this means, after which he jumps off the horse, and it rushes into the barn at full speed. After which he runs up to his wife and says to the Duke that it was high time to return, to which Levi replies that yes. The man claims he heard the boy was not expected back until lunchtime today, and his interlocutor replies that Ignite looked restless, and the Duke wonders if that is why the boy rode alone on a horse all night. The young man replies that a shadow was following him anyway. His interlocutor says that it doesn't matter now. Levi claims that the end-of-year ceremony ended the day before, and the man says that this is also after which the boy apologizes. The Duke asks why, and the young man replies that he thought he was bothering him with his wayward behavior. Meanwhile, the Duke pulls the little girl towards him and says that he needs to apologize not only to him, after which Levi apologizes, and when he bows, he says that then he will go. The main character asks if he said sorry, but claims that he almost put her into eternal sleep by stepping on her and thinks that an apology is enough. Her interlocutor asks if she will give up now, but the girl only laughs louder and then turns to her father-in-law, and she says that the word surrender is not in her dictionary, and also understands that Levi Bastian will still see her because she will conquer him, and turns her into a person who can't live without her. The next day, the main character hits a tree. She also says that knowing the enemy and knowing herself, she knows that she is invincible. Benjamin turns to Aisha at this time and asks if she has finally gone crazy, but the lady replies that it was a spell to win. She then tells him to hurry up and read her what she asked for. The man, with a smile on his face, replies that yes, and opens a study of the connection between their birth and the character of young Mr. Levi. He claims that his name is Levi Bastian and that his age will be 11 years old this year. His family consists of his father and a brother 2 years younger than him, but the girl asks, what about his mother? Her interlocutor replies that the Duke's wife fell into eternal sleep 6 years ago, and the reason is an exacerbation of pneumonia. Levi, from the moment he entered the academy until now, has been outstanding in all aspects, but especially in fencing, and none of his peers can compare to him. The main character says that this is so incredible that it infuriates her, after which she asks why he has such an explosive character. Her interlocutor replies that this is information that only people there know, so it would be a bit polite for me to tell him about it. The main character says that today there is a promotion of 2 pieces for the price of 1, and then the man begins his story and then claims that it is innate. The girl asks if he has been such a rude person since birth, and his interlocutor replies that no, and it's not that simple. Aisha asks him to explain in more detail what it means that he feels emotions in an unusual way. Her interlocutor claims that something happened to the young gentleman at the age of 4 because he stepped on a bird. The boy's mother asked if he had really done it, but the boy replied that in any case, a bird that had fallen from its nest could not live long. She would still fall into eternal sleep, so it was better to speed up the process, and the young man asked if he had done something wrong. The main character says that it turns out that this is what happened, and one word immediately came to her mind, namely psychopath. It's not an insult or a metaphor, but the girl wonders if he's doing something similar. A 4-year-old child just put a live bird into eternal sleep. However, he seems to value Ignite. The girl also says that if it's congenital, it can't be corrected. And her interlocutor replies that he doesn't know, but he heard out loud that His Excellency the Duke was also like that in childhood. However, at that very moment, the man stops, and the main character asks why he stopped, to which he replies that it is because he is not sure. Benjamin rises from his seat and asserts that it would be better if the lady asks the butler, Hugo, who has known His Excellency longer than he has. And the man also claims that this is where he will finish, and then he expects something else. The main character, looking at him, understands that he wants to joke and asks if the poet is a cow, and then claims that it is a lawsuit. The lady also asks what several cows are singing, after which she says that this is a class action lawsuit. When he starts laughing, the lady says that she will go, and Benjamin wonders if the lady won't go with him to the office. The man also says that it's time for tea, and the girl replies that she won't go today because she's a little busy. The lady, smiling, also affirms that they will see each other later. A short time later, she approaches the stables, after which he turns to Queensberry and greets her. She also looks at the baby and wonders if he can walk yet. At this time, the horse turns to its son and tells him to say hello, because this is Mom's friend. The main character immediately greets her and says that she is pleased to meet her. Well, at that very moment, the little foal touches her with his forehead, and the girl says something so sweet. At this time, the main character asks if Ignite is also there today, after which Queensberry looks at him menacingly, and then he kicks out, telling him to apologize to her friend, and he does. So the main character suggests Queensberry calm down, after which she says that everything is fine, because she knows that he had no choice, and it is not his fault. Instead of apologizing, she asks if he can answer the question honestly, after which one wonders whether his owner was accidentally secretly abusing him. The horse asks in surprise what she's talking about, and the girl asks if his owner often makes him step on people like yesterday. Her interlocutor replies that no, and the girl tells him to think carefully, and whether this has really never happened, to which he again replies that no. The main character understands that this new father also doesn't know anything, But this psychopath will have time to crush her before her time runs out. Well, nothing can be done, so we need to resort to extreme measures and ask Grandpa Hugo. A little while later, the girl is already heading down the corridor, but then she is blinded by some light. When she turns around, she sees Bibi, who seems to be glowing. The main character addresses her. Well, her interlocutor irritably asks what the girl is looking at, to which she replies that it's because the lady is beautiful. Bibi, a little embarrassed, asks what the main character is talking about, but she understands that she has a beautiful face with a bold character, and instead of a maid, it would be more suitable to be an actress, and maybe it's worth trying. After which, the main character turns to Bibi and says that an older young gentleman is coming there. At that moment, the girl turns around with a cute face, but there is no one behind her. Bibi immediately cries out in irritation that he is not there, and the girl is a liar. But the main character understands that everything is just like that, because being an actress suits her better. Aisha asks why the girl likes the young gentleman, and she replies that he is handsome. The main character says that even if that is the case, his character is not very good. And what about the younger gentleman? Her interlocutor says that the younger young gentleman is more cute than handsome, and he is not to her taste, and his character is also not simple. But at the same moment, she understands what Aisha is talking about and tells her not to try to subtly force her to give in. At the same moment, someone else comes up to the little girl from behind and says that she is a lazy person. At that moment, the two scream in horror, and the girl asks if it is her father-in-law, and behind him on the stairs, she actually sees Levi. The main character's gaze meets his, but at the same moment, the Duke turns to the lady and says that she is a loafer. The girl asks in what sense he called her a slacker, and her interlocutor says that not doing one's own business is idleness. Aisha asks what she's doing, but at that moment, she remembers telling Benjamin she was doing something. The little girl immediately, joyfully asks if he was really waiting, after which she claims that he was offended, that she did not come to feed him cookies, and the Duke was lonely. But at that same moment, the main character notices that Levi is still looking, and then bows and greets him, while the boy at that very moment turns around and leaves, slamming the door. Aisha wonders if he really ignored her now, but she certainly didn't expect a friendly greeting. It's a bit annoying, though. The person cleaning up after meeting the gaze of the child he nearly sent into eternal sleep. This guy is always incredible, so she should marry him quickly and cling to him like a queensberry. After which, the main character thinks that this guy should just wait, and she runs from there to one of the rooms and knocks on it. The butler hears someone knocking, then opens the door and sees Miss there and asks why she came. The little girl, with a smile on her face, replies that she needs to quickly ask something, after which she asks if she can come in, to which the man replies, of course. The main character claims that, first of all, before asking a question, she wants to tell what happened at dawn. 10 minutes later, the main character says that this is why she almost fell into eternal sleep, because the young master tried to trample her, and she barely survived. The butler asks how this is possible, because he thought that all this noise was because the young master returned early. He also asks if the lady is okay and if she's hurt. The main character replies that she is, and that it's not about her. After all, she came to ask about the young master. The girl had heard that something had happened to the Duke as a child, but Benjamin said that he was unsure of these rumors, and asked to ask Grandfather Hugo. The man replies that he doesn't know what rumors the assistant heard, but the owner's childhood was ordinary. The main character wonders if this is true and asks what it was like, to which he replies that they are similar to Mr. Levy's childhood, that is, one could say ordinary by the standards of the Bastian family. Well, the main character says that the Duke has reformed and asks if that is true, to which the man replies that of course, where in the past he would have crippled the entire body, now he only gets rid of the hand, and the main character understands that everything is lost. At this time, the butler says that this is all thanks to the meeting with Catherine. The main character asks who this is, and her interlocutor replies that this is the name of the deceased madam, just like the baby she was once picked up, or better said brought by her owner. The protagonist asks where her interlocutor is from, and he replies that he can't say. Aisha says he doesn't look like one, but it seems to be his hobby. He picked out a wife and a daughter-in-law too, but her interlocutor claims that he calls it fate, the great destiny of Bastian passed down from generation to generation. The main character says that in any case, thanks to this, she thinks she understands the answer to her question. She also claims that it was a matter of love, and the love brought by fate from the Duke's wife helped him to reform. But her interlocutor claims that she ruled with a whip. The woman claimed that even if there are no emotions, there is pain. And with these words, the madam always addressed the Duke. One day, a woman entered Wolfgang's room, where he was torturing people, also claimed that she clearly told him to feed the children first, and then he went to torture her. The butler also looks at his watch and says it's quite late, after which he asks if his advice helped the lady. The main character realizes that she has finally found her role model. A short time later, all the servants greet the younger master. As the Duke walks with the boy, he looks at the little girl, and then he goes on to call her a slacker and weak-willed. The main character, shocked, wonders why they gave her yet another nickname. The little girl wonders if it was because she asked if he was offended, but the Duke remains offended longer than she expected. A little while later, the man sits down at the table. The main character watches all this from around the corner and realizes that her father-in-law is sitting at the head of the table and Levi is to his left. Then the little girl picks up a chair and runs with it, placing it between the two. Looking at Levi, the main character thinks that this boy is just shy, but he doesn't have any reaction. The main character understands that there is nothing she can do about it, and that doing so is a bit annoying from the very beginning. However, you will have to use special winks when the guy's face does not change. Then the main character thinks, hasn't he seen this and it's really cute, so he should at least say that it's ridiculous. At this time, the Duke turns to his son and says that when he is given attention, he should at least react minimally, after which the guy says hello to the lady, and the main character wonders if he really said hello to her. The little girl immediately prepares to greet him in return, but the boy only turns around, after which the servants say that they will serve the food. When the food is placed on the table, the main character turns to the gentleman and tells him to look at it, after which she takes a piece of meat on her fork and says that a plane is flying towards him. But the guy just looks at her coldly, after which the main character apologizes and takes this piece of meat. The guy asks what the airplane is, and the main character realizes that there are no airplanes there. She also asks if he is curious, because if so, then let him pay 5 gold. The young man immediately reaches for his pocket, but the girl replies that it's a joke. Levi repeats this word a little surprised, and the girl asks if he doesn't know what a joke is. The guy asks her to give him a definition, and the girl replies that she is not a dictionary and asks if he really doesn't joke with his friends, to which he replies that he has no friends, and the main character doesn't even know what to say, after which she suggests that instead of money, he call her by name, because then she will tell only him what an airplane is. Turns away at that very moment, and the girl with a smile on her face asks if he is embarrassed. Aisha understands that psychopaths are also shy, but at that very moment, she feels someone's evil gaze on her, and when the lady turns around, she sees someone else peeking out from behind the door. It turns out to be Bibi, and the main character sticks her tongue out at her and also wonders if this girl is jealous. This is how the noisy lunchtime passed, and walking down the street, the main character sighs. At that very moment, she hears someone addressing the young master, and when she turns around in that direction, who sees Bibi there with Levi? The girl claims she's glad the young gentleman came, and she also hands him a handkerchief and says that she came out thinking about him. Although it is not ideal, she asks him to accept it, but the guy just passes by the lady. The main character understands that this is too much, because he didn't even say that he didn't want it. He simply ignored it. At the same moment, the girl notices that Bibi is crying and approaches her, asking if she is okay. Well, her interlocutor just looks at the baby's hand and then grabs it. Surprised by this, and her interlocutor offers her a duel, after which she even tells the girl to follow her into the backyard. After all, the losing side will retreat and will not cling to the young master in vain. The main character tells Bibi to wait, because in such situations, she prefers to resolve everything through conversation. The main character asks why they should fight, because the choice should be up to the young master, and this love battle is not as romantic as it seems. Her interlocutor only says that the baby has no words, and that as a result, after which Aisha begs for mercy. She understands that even though the difference is only 4 years at their ages, it's a big difference. If her interlocutor does not back down, then nothing can be done, and the main character tells her to accept the capitulation while she asks nicely. Otherwise, she will force her to beg for mercy, after which her interlocutor will only get angry and wonder if this is all a joke for her. The girl also waves her hand and claims that the baby will get it today, but Aisha only whistles, But at that very moment, she freezes and sees how wolves are running up to the girl. Bibi asks in surprise, "What is this?" After which he steps back and trips over a stone. The main character points to one of the wolves and tells the girl to get acquainted because these are her friends. One of the wolves looks menacingly at the girl, after which she asks for help with tears in her eyes. The main character strokes one of the wolves on the head and thanks the guys, after which she turns to her interlocutor and asks what it is. After all this way, they'll only hurt each other. It doesn't matter, even if they fight like this for 100 days. But in the end, the choice will still be the young master's. Bibi wonders if the lady is saying that she is unworthy of him, but the main characters are not interested in why she suddenly became so angry. The blonde lady claims she knows she has no chance anyway, and she also knows that some servant girl has no right to even look at the young master. The main character turns to Bibi, after which he even says that since she knows he should leave him alone and only get angry about her interlocutor. But the girl claims that she has already won anyway, and the girl asks what that means. Aisha replies that because even if she is a servant or a maid, she will definitely marry the young master. Her interlocutor asks if the girl is really out of her mind, and the main character wonders if she has only just realized it. Bibi asks if she really thinks she can become the young master's wife, and the main character replies that it is more realistic than becoming the wife of the crown prince. Aisha understands that she may look like this, but she is a specialist who has reached the rank of crown princess, after which she says that she has circumstances, due to which she has no way out. But Bibi is too beautiful to become one man's woman. Bibi turns away, a little embarrassed, and the main character says that she did smile, after which the girl screams at her to be quiet. The next morning, the main character turns to her father-in-law, and he asks the bridegroom candidate what it is. Aisha asks if they are really growing assassins there, to which he replies that they are. The main character replies that she doesn't mean that, because it's hard to see his son, and the man replies that it is so. The girl asks if this isn't too much, since he's been sitting there locked in for several days now. So isn't the father worried about his son? The main character realizes that a week has passed since Levi returned to the estate for spring break. Except for the first historical day, he hid perfectly, like a true assassin. She even set up an ambush in the hallway for the whole day, because she thought that she would accidentally bump into him, but it was all in vain, and after that, she was even scolded. Aisha understands that everything is in vain, and in order to meet him, she will have to perform several tricks. The man claims that he would be worried if he left the room and went for a walk. After all, in the mansion, he is even quieter, and the main character wonders why isn't he the master there? Wolfham. He replies that something like Togo happened, and the girl asks what happened. The man replies that Catherine has fallen into eternal sleep in the mansion. The main character understands that she knows this name, because it is the name of the Duke who fell into eternal sleep early. She is a proud leader of her predecessors, who has achieved great things, and it seems she has fallen into eternal sleep right there. At this time, the man asks why the girl is looking at him like that, and she replies that it seems she said something wrong. But at that very moment, her interlocutor takes the baby by the cheeks and says that today they are even softer. The main character says that now the father-in-law must admit it, and he asks what, and the girl replies that he is crazy about her, after which the man says, okay. Aisha asks if this is true, and he asks if it is necessary to be a daughter-in-law. He also claims that there are many ways to become a member of the family, and he can simply adopt hers, or make him a dog, after which the main character suggests that he stop joking. The girl also claims that her life is at stake, and the man asks if this is true, after which the main character understands what she just told her, and claims that she means that this matter is as important as her life. How could she become Duchess of Bastion without such determination? Well, at the same moment, the lady also asks why it is so hot today, and she starts running away, saying that she's going to get some fresh air. As the lady walks down the corridor, she realizes that something bad almost happened when he suggested installing her as some kind of domestic dog. The power inside her began to roar, and she almost drove herself into a corner. In this world, temples and powers are sacred and inviolable. This is a sacred zone that cannot be touched, and because of this power, it will soon be plunged into eternal sleep, so you need to be careful. The lady also understands that she can't allow him to abandon her. A short time later, she's already in the stables. The girl turns to the child and says that not to talk, but to be straightforward and stubborn is her element. She also turns to Queensberry and asks if she thinks so, after which the horse tells her not to worry. Well, the girl claims that spring break is short, and realistically, it's impossible to get married in 2 weeks. Then the lady with a smile on her face says that they will arrange an engagement. Hey, the girl starts dancing with joy. But at that very moment, someone screams, and when the lady turns around, she sees a groom. He tells the lady not to dance in such a narrow space because she might get hurt. Queensberry is okay, and the main character turns to Uncle Tony, and she wonders why he is only affectionate with Queensberry, because if he is only affectionate with her, the child will also be offended. And she does too, after which the man says that's not true. He also says that Queensberry was the madam's favorite horse. The main character asks her if this is true, and understands that she has understood something from the valuable, albeit useful information she received. Levi was so angry because he thought she had harmed his late mother's horse. If that's true, it's unexpected, which means the mother thing is somehow affecting this tin can. That's good news for her. Her mother-in-law showed her that there was a chance to lure this tin can, and the main character was interested in what kind of person the lady was. To which the man is silent for a while, after which he claims that it was very good, and the girl understands that the silence was long. The main character also turns to Queensberry and asks about her owner, to which she replies that she is a good person. But the main character thinks that this is somehow suspicious, and then decides that she needs to ask others. After this, the girl asked other workers of the mansion, but they claimed that she was a good person. But the lady screamed for them to tell her at least something other than this. Even without touching on family matters, we can still tell what she looked like and what she liked. At that moment, the girl notices Bibi and immediately runs up to her with hugs. She also asks if she can have something asked, but the girl just tells her to get lost. Aisha asks if she can give her information about the deceased lady, to which she replies that there isn't any. The main character asks how this is, and her interlocutor explains that this is because there were no rumors going around in the first place. All that was known was that she was a former Gaelic viscountess. She never went outside, and even on the estate always wore a mask. The main character asks why her interlocutor replies that it is unknown, and maybe there was some reason for hiding. Aisha asks if this is all true. Her interlocutor asks what else should be, to which the little girl replies that everyone she asked didn't answer anything. Bibi claims it is because they're afraid legend has it that the elders would always have a marital quarrel with their owners. Then she took off, and the main character wondered if this was the leader of the predecessors. A short time later, the main character is walking down the street and realizes that the woman had violently beaten her father-in-law. The little girl couldn't shake the impression, so she's been walking for 5 hours. The girl also understands that this is a little strange because she was so healthy that she became a master's. That's why the baby doesn't understand why she fell into eternal sleep so early. And although she had heard that the woman had fallen into an eternal sleep from pneumonia, given the Bastion's astronomical wealth, it was impossible not to cure her. Then the little girl doesn't understand why she fell into eternal sleep, but you can't just ask something like that. Then the girl thinks that maybe she should use disguise, but at that very moment, she notices that Levi's room is in front of hers. The girl realizes that she looks like a pipe dream, and she has been trying to get into his room for several days. Well, she couldn't do it because there were traps set there. And one day, the lady found herself in such a situation. One of the maids approached Aisha, and she claimed that she had said that she could not sneak into the young master's room. The main character then claimed to hate them. Aisha realized she was being so loud, but he still didn't come out. And now the little girl thinks that this is just terrible, after which she kicks the stone. But then she takes another look at the pebble and realizes that with this, she can force Levi to come out. After which, the little girl takes a swing and throws the stone towards his window. He hits and bounces back, and the girl wonders if the guy still won't come out. The main character collects more mountain stones, and you understand that now she will not leave him alone. The girl immediately begins to throw stones one after another, but when she throws the next stone, then she sees the window open and someone grabs it. The main character is surprised by this, after which he sees Levi leaving. The two look at each other silently, after which the girl greets him. But the young man just heads back to his room, and the little girl screams again. And she also tells him to wait. Lady immediately starts climbing the tree and tells Levi to wait for her. After all, she will soon be there. But at that very moment, the girl falls from the tree and falls to the floor, after which she actually feels pain in her back, but sees the guy closing the window and thinks how impudent he is. She also wonders if his tongue will dry out if he just asks Liana if she's okay. Well, then the girl understands that it is decided, and until he leaves, she will have 5 serenades about love every night. Time passed senselessly, and the main character came on the first day to sing herself, after which she even threw stones and candy at his window. And the next day, she sang a serenade with the wolves. Okay, when 2/3 of spring break had passed, she left. At this time, the Duke asks if the girl has disappeared. The butler replies that she has, and according to the maid from the next room, the diligent miss did not see the light of day. The man then claims that he needs to look for her, and when he closes his eyes, and he searches the entire estate, but upon opening them, he says that the lady is indeed nowhere to be found. The butler asks whether he should announce a search, to which he replies that he doesn't know, and that his daughter-in-law would like someone else to find her. At this time, Levi opens his window and thinks how the girl managed to throw them away every day until they accumulated. But he also doesn't understand why she did it, and for what purpose. One of the maids at this time asks, should the knights ask to look for her with them, to which the other one replies yes, and suggests that they also split up and look. At this time, Bibi sighs and then screams, "Where did this mongrel go, because it makes her worry?" Levi looks out the window at this time and wonders if it has ever been so loud and noisy there. If I dig into my memory, yes, and that was a long time ago when Mom was still alive. The woman then claimed that today they would search for treasure, and she didn't hold back when she wanted something. If she suddenly wanted to find treasure, she could only rest after she'd accomplished it by any means necessary. After she fell ill, it became even more acute, and it was as if she did not want to leave any regrets before plunging into eternal sleep. The woman said that it was well hidden, so let them look carefully, and then she screamed that it was time to begin. At this time, the Duke was helping his youngest son and telling him to walk carefully. At this time, the butler turned to Queensberry and asked if she could only tell him the location, after which the horse replied that she did not know either. When the woman saw Levi next to her, she asked if he would look for treasure, but he replied that he did not know why he should look for it. His interlocutor claimed that everyone was having so much fun, and it was sad to sit alone, so if he would happily search for treasure, she would be happy. The young man then insisted he would find it. Levi's world began early on, built on books and dictionaries he'd read to the end, as well as an education from renowned teachers. Moral common sense was built step by step like a sandcastle in the desert. From a very early age, he was taught to act in a way that distinguished between right and wrong. Therefore, the guy thought it was right to step on the seriously wounded bird and finish it off early so that it would not suffer. However, his mother was the first to whom he applied the dictionary meaning of the word exception. He did not choke her because of her painful cough, but instead covered her with a warm scarf. And then she said, smiling brightly, that there is hope. This word is the hardest for Levi. When Mom said this word, she looked happy, so he understood that it was correct. When the young man became the winner in the treasure hunt, she also smiled brightly, although it was difficult to see because of masks, but it even seems happy. Now, someone is screaming that he found the lady's apron and wondering why it is there, and also, what if something terrible happened? Someone else claimed, judging by the tracks around her, she went towards the mountains, so we need to send a search team to the mountains. After this, the young man only looked at it, and then completely jumped up from his seat. At this time, the main character lies among the wolves, and in her sleep says that her future husband should open the door to the room at least once. At that very moment, someone stands near the wolves, and at that very moment they wake up and look menacingly at the young man. The main character also opens her eyes and asks who is there. But at that very moment, she sees Levi, and then screams out that he scared hers. Aisha is shocked and wonders if this is really a meeting, because she just woke up, after which she keeps touching the boy's cheeks and says that he is real. The main character immediately smiles and hugs him, and says that she finally caught him. Levi, who seemed like a dream, turned out to be real, and when the girl realized this, it was great to grab him. But the guy just pushed her away, and then ran away, and the main character asked where he was going. A little while later, the girl walks under his window again and realizes that she doesn't even know when she will have the chance to see him again. At this time, the young man opens the window and then throws a blanket on her, and the main character asks why she needs it. Aisha also realizes that his door is open, and wonders if Levi did it so she wouldn't be cold. The girl also wonders if their tin is changed, after which she even screams out how warm she is. And thanks to the blanket that someone threw her, it is very warm. But it would be ideal if someone took her hand, after which the baby stretches out her hand to the window, but nothing happens. At the same time, the little girl also says that she suddenly developed a cough and pretends to cough. At that very moment, the boy comes down from the window and grabs her hand, after which he tells her not to get sick. Aisha thanks him, after which the boy asks her name. The main character asks if he really asked about her name, and the boy answers. What she did say was that if he called her by name, she would tell him what an airplane was. And at the same moment, the little girl claims that her name is Aisha, and also invites him to call her by her name, after which he does so. Aisha says that since she introduced herself, they are now friends. And since they are friends, she will speak informally, because friends always do that, to which he agrees. Then the main character grabs the boy by the hand and says that, as she promised, she will tell him about the plane, so let him follow her. A little while later, the little girl draws an airplane on the ground and claims that it is a hot air balloon flying in the sky, with people on it, and it accelerates to 800 kilometers per hour and has fire coming out of its butt. The main character understands that the guy must be fascinated by the greatness of modern civilization. It's worth taking advantage of this opportunity and starting to wash his masks, after which the girl asks if he knows what marriage is. The young man replies that this is when a man and a woman officially enter into a marital relationship. The girl says that this meaning also exists. After 2 hours, the main character finishes her story and claims that marriage is a very good thing. The union of a loving couple and the world becoming more beautiful. The main character also says that if he is handsome and she marries him, they will be able to make a double contribution to the world. She also says that since we're talking about the newlywed's house, or better yet, whether he wants to go and see the shelter, Levi asks what it is, and the little girl invites him to follow her, after which they approach a house in the forest, and the main character says that this is her shelter. Usually it's just her and the wolves playing there, but she invites him. The lady also claims that it is not bad now, but she would like it to look more like a shelter, and she is interested in how to decorate it. Her interlocutor asks if he should also decorate, and the girl replies that yes, because this is now their shelter. The young man thinks about this with a little joy, and the lady suggests building a hut, because they could play house there together. The main character asks Levi about a hut, to which he agrees. Aisha understands that she is sure that this was the first time for Levi, and the first time that some girl was bothering him. For the first time, he burst out laughing when she tried to get close to him, and for the first time, he held hands and became friends with someone. The young man first asked her name when she disappeared from sight for a short time. And then the main character says that Levi caught it perfectly, and also asked if her lumberjack skills were incredible. She also asked him how he was doing with his wife, who knew how to chop wood. And the young man realized that he, too, had begun to think that he should not have gotten involved with hers. A little while later, everything was already over. Despite this, the main character said that she even felt sorry. The young man asked what she was talking about. The lady claimed that they had even built a house, but they would soon have to part ways because he was returning to the academy tomorrow. The girl also asked him not to cheat while she was not around, and also to eat well. Well, at that very moment, the young man felt something, after which he pulled the lady towards him, and covering her mouth, told her to be quiet. The guy also claimed that they needed to return home immediately because assassins had come to the estate. The young man places the lady on the wolf and states that they need to hurry, after which he tells the wolf to run. The main character thinks about what happened, after which she runs up to the gate, and one of the knights there screams for the others to get ready faster. At this time, the Duke approaches these two and says that they have arrived, and then tells these two to come in. At this time, the young man says that there are a lot of them, and the main character wonders when he managed to come. The Duke says that is why he tells them to come in, but the young man insists that he will help. The Duke points to the lady and says that this pea-sized body will fall into eternal sleep, even if it is slightly injured. She will plunge into eternal sleep if there is no one nearby who will protect her from her. And the man asks his son what he thinks about this, after which the boy immediately takes the main character by the hand and invites her to go to the estate, to which she agrees. A little while later, the two of them are heading down the corridor, and someone turns to them asking if they have really arrived. The main character turns to Benjamin and asks what he is doing there, to which he replies that he is concerned about his documents and his safety. Aisha wonders if documents are really that important in this association. But at that very moment, the guy hears a noise outside and says that it all started. Aisha, she asks the guy to explain to her what is happening, but he replies that it is just an ordinary attack. The main character wonders if this is too pompous for an assassination attempt, and for what reason they attacked. When her interlocutor does not answer, the girl asks why he is silent and whether it is really so scary. The girl wonders if the situation is so incredible that it's hard to say, after which the guy apologizes and says that it's not that simple. He also claims that there are so many things to point out. At that moment, someone shouts that they have broken through the line of defense, so let everyone defend the estate. Benjamin says that if they broke through the defensive line, they will soon reach the estate. The main character asks what if they get hurt, but her interlocutor replies that this cannot happen. After all, this is Bastion. But the boy immediately senses something and claims that someone has broken in. Benjamin asks, how many people are there, to which the young man replies that there are 4. And his interlocutor says that they will be caught quickly. The guy then says that he will destroy them and return, but the main character grabs him by the clothes and asks where he is going. The girl also says that it is dangerous, but the young man only breaks free from her hands and claims that he will return. Aisha asks what to do. Maybe she still has time to get him back. Her interlocutor asks if the lady is now worried about the young gentleman, to which she replies that, of course. The girl also says that she should go after him, but at the same moment, the man claims that no one except her is worried about Bastion. Aisha claims that the boy is 11 years old, but the man says that he is one of the Bastion. The main character asks if he really has 2 lives, since he is one of the Bastions. Well then, the main character understands that everything is not so, and it does not depend on whether he is the descendant of God or someone else. But people have only one life, and life is unfair, but death is fair. After which, the girl claims that she will go find Levi, and Benjamin, in shock, screams at her to wait. After which, one of the assassins jumps into the window and is about to attack the lady. But at that very moment, someone grabs the girl, and it turns out to be Benjamin. The main character wonders if he really did it. But at that very moment, the mercenary swings and then strikes. However, the guy cleverly dodges once again and claims that he is not Bastion. The man also asks whether mercenaries nowadays even confuse their targets. Well, his interlocutor shouts at him to shut up, after which the guy claims that he is saying that he is not one of the Bastions. Benjamin immediately kicks his opponent, causing him to fall to the floor. The main character says that Benjamin is so strong, and her interlocutor says that to work there, you need to be able to do even more, to attack again. And Benjamin says that he got up again, after which the man turns to the little girl and asks if he can ask her for something, and the girl asks what it is. While he deflects the blow with several hands, he asks the girl if she can call for help as soon as possible. The main character immediately replies that it's fine, after which she sees several maids. When she runs up to them, one of them claims that it is dangerous to walk alone now, and the girl screams that Benjamin is in danger, after which they ask what she's talking about and run to him. The protagonist realizes this is unexpected, but Benjamin is in demand. She also turns to Betty and asks if she will go, but the maid replies that she must protect the mistress. The main character looks at her with emotion, but at this time the maid notices that someone is coming, after which she immediately takes the baby and runs into one of the rooms and hides the girl in the closet. The main character asks what about her, and the woman replies that she will be fine, after which the girl completely covers the baby and mentally asks for everyone to be safe and sound. Someone immediately entered the room, and when the lady looks through the crack, she realizes that this mercenary is holding a holy object in his hands. The holy object possesses the sacred power created by the Holy Kingdom, and its creation itself proves the existence of Lumiere. The priests who ran the temple bought them from the Holy Kingdom for a huge sum of money, and the girl realizes that there must have been a similar item in her temple. They were used differently, depending on the shape, and this mirror illuminates the hidden energy instead of the visible object. For example, someone's strength, after which the mercenary claims that she found and sticks a knife in there was a cabinet. But he wonders why this energy is moving, and the main character understands that it is because there is a living person there. The cabinet, again, and the main character barely manages to dodge and mentally asks at least someone to help her. At that moment, someone enters the room and the girl hears someone fall to the floor. It turns out that it was the mercenary who hit Levi, after which the guy opens the closet door. And he sees a baby in it, after which he tells her to get out. The closet with trembling legs, and the young man notices her injured arm. The girl replies that she probably got hurt while hiding, but wonders why her trembling doesn't stop. The young man remembers how someone said that it was incredible, and the woman asked him what he was talking about. Someone claimed that as soon as his mother hugged Franz, he stopped crying. The woman asked him if he knew why, and when he asked why, he replied that it was because hugs should be given with a loving heart. She also told him to remember this feeling, and if he wants someone to console him, let him hug him tightly. After which the young man hugs the main character and claims that now everything will be fine. After this, the girl cannot restrain herself, and with tears in her eyes answers yes. A little while later, someone throws candles at one of the temple workers and screams that he said that this time everything would be done. The young man cries out that this is the only reason he gave them the sacred mirror, while others claim that the caretaker said that the information was absolutely correct, and according to the report, it was about extraordinary power. The young man cries out that he told him to be careful and that this force is similar to energy. He also cries out that they have forgotten the sacred object, and his interlocutors ask the priest to calm down. The guy then sighs in irritation and tells them to listen carefully now. If they don't find him that one while he's alive, he'll strip them naked and throw them alive into the bastion. He also asks if it is clear to them, to which they answer that yes, and when the servants leave, the guy says what useless creatures they are. But the thing that the girl stole must be found no matter what the cost. A little while later, the main character is already changing clothes and looking with admiration at some objects. She says that there are 4 sacred objects there, and Benjamin wonders if it's really that surprising. To which the lady replies, "Of course," after which she whispers to him the cost of these items. The man is shocked when he thinks about this, after which he apologizes for not recognizing their value and claims that he will immediately take it to the safe. But the main character wonders where they got these items from, because sometimes it's extremely difficult to find even one, and is there really someone great behind this? The girl also says that this is not a good sign, and her interlocutor asks if it hurts, and if she needs to bandage it again, to which the girl replies that this is enough. Then Levi asks what she's mumbling about. The main character replies that his spring break ends tomorrow. She is sad that he will have to leave, but the guy tells her not to cry. The little girl immediately turns to Levi and says that she wants chocolate, and the boy immediately runs after it. A few minutes later, he returns with a chocolate fountain, and the girl asks about juice, to which he replies that he'll tell her to bring it. The lady says she wants it with ice, and he agrees, after which the main character suggests getting engaged again, and he, a little embarrassed, replies that it's okay. Aisha asks if he really will marry her, to which he replies that yes, and the lady with a smile on her face cries out with joy. The girl also thinks that if she knew that everything was so simple, she would have cried much earlier after the guy proposed to hold the engagement tomorrow morning. A little while later, the main character is already sitting with a bouquet and realizes that she can't even believe that they got engaged so quickly. At this time, someone else turns to the lady and asks what she is doing, and the girl asks if this is Bibi's sister. Her interlocutor says that for someone who is getting engaged, she looks too downcast, to which the main character replies that she simply doesn't believe it's all reality, because how could she make this little boy get engaged to her with just one word? Well, her interlocutor says that this is Bastian, and the main character curses him. Bibi says that the girl is dressed up, and it's nice to look at her, after which the main character smiles. She also hugs her Bibi, and now suggests that they understand their situation, because she is the bride of the younger duke. Bibi says what a mean girl this is. The main character suggests that her sisters make a pretty face, asking if it really happened so suddenly. The main character suggests that she make it, and think of it as a wedding gift, after which the girl does so, and asks if she is happy, after which the main character asks her to try to smile, and then make a contemptuous grin, and after that, even cry. Aisha says that's great, and then it's decided the main character immediately turns to her father-in-law, who runs up to her, after which the main character tells him to fire this maid, and the girl in shock asks what she is talking about. And the main character asks to be sent to an art academy in the south. The man then says that she can do whatever she wants, and the little girl asks if this is true. The Duke says that it is the duty of the mistress to manage internal affairs, and the little girl repeats the mistress's words once again. She realizes that at that moment, the reality hit her that she had truly become part of Bastion, and she finally has a family. People also say that from now on, he's no longer a future father-in-law, and the man says that she's no longer a contender for a daughter-in-law either, after which the main character asks her father-in-law to take care of her, and the man sighs and agrees with his daughter-in-law. At this time, the butler turns to the owner and states that everything is ready, after which the man suggests going. A little while later, he takes the little girl to Levi, and the main character says that he is so cool. The little girl also spins and asks if she is beautiful, to which the guy replies that she is, after which the girl stands next to him, and everyone congratulates them on their engagement, and the wolves also start to chant in chorus. A little while later, the young man is already preparing to leave, and the main character takes him by the hand and tells him to be careful. And he was wary of mercenaries or anyone like them. The young man agrees, and the girl tells him to study hard and stay healthy. The main character also says that she will miss him, to which he replies that he will too. Aisha also says that she will try to write letters every time, to which he agrees. The little girl claims that when her husband leaves, all that remains is to wait for the summer holidays, and then the guy offers to spend it later. The main character asks what he is talking about, and the young man climbs onto the horse, and he claims that he talks about their wedding, after which he leaves. Aisha realizes that she never thought that her heart would flutter from the words of a young girl. At this time, the horse turns to the lady and asks how she is getting on with her marriage, and the girl replies that she is glad that their marriage is so organic. Her interlocutor asks what she means, and the girl replies that it is a relationship between a father and a son. It's a big mess. The little girl turns to her father-in-law and says it's too much. The man asked his daughter-in-law what she wanted, and the main character claimed that he didn't even come out to see him off, to which the man replied that he would never see him again anyway, since all the attention now belonged to the lady. At this time, someone else turns to these two and asks for forgiveness. The butler claims that this is a message from the Duke of Campbell. The main character understands that this is the same one who became rich from the fortune of the never-ending emerald mine. He gave the imperial family huge bribes from the sales of emeralds, which raised him 2 steps from count to duke. He is the complete opposite of Bastian, the founder of his own kind. Aisha asks if she can really read it, and the man replies that she has to. When the main character opens this letter, she is shocked. And the rest of the people in the room ask what happened, to which she replies that she can't read. The Duke then says that the little girl should be taken away from there, to which the butler agrees, and the girl turns to her father-in-law in surprise. She also cries out to Grandpa Hugo, asking where he's taking her. The man replies that from now on, she should just call him by his first name, not Grandpa. At this time, the Duke picks up the letter and reads that the day after the assassination attempt, he is sending a letter with inquiries about health. And this Duke seems to be asking if no one was hurt and if everything is okay. So the man asks, "What kind of insolence is this?" Meanwhile, in the Rev Academy, men's dormitory, it's time for morning roll call. The man says that as soon as he calls their name, they should come for the letter, after which he begins to read the names one by one. And then the man even reads the name Levi Bastian and claims that the sender of this letter is Aisha. The young man immediately snatches the letter from the man's hands, and his interlocutor asks who the sender is, after which the guy replies that this is his daughter-in-law, and then says that he will go. Everyone is shocked and screaming, "Does this ice cube really have a daughter-in-law?" Well, the man tells them all to be quiet. At this point, the young man opens the letter and begins to read it. A girl has written in it, asking him to help her. The girl also claimed that the place where Grandfather Hugo dragged her turned out to be a library connected to the bedroom. Then she wondered why the bedroom was connected to the library, and they told her the reason right away, because it was so that she could pass out while she was studying. Well then, the main character writes that now she can at least write simple sentences. The girl also wondered if this would work out too, after which she picked up a piece of paper and a pen, after which she handed over what she had written to Grandfather Hugo. And a little while later, Bibi burst into her office. She screamed in shock, asking why she was fired. And how could it be done so suddenly? The main character replies that she did mention it, but her interlocutor insists she thought she was just joking. The main character wonders why, since she is a serious person who doesn't know jokes. She also asked if Bibi was happy, and she asked what she was happy with, to which the girl replied that she was working as a maid. Her interlocutor cannot answer this, after which the main character says that the Bastions do not need a servant who has lost her pride. So let her go and find her talent, and she knows the Sol Academy. It is the second most famous academy in the Amanta Empire, after the Rev Academy, and specializes in the arts. The girl claims that she told Grandpa Hugo that she could go there right now. Exams, well, but if she fails, then let her not even dare to come back. Her interlocutor then tells the girl to wait and asks why she is doing this for her. The main character turns to Bibi and claims that she has almost nothing. The lady understands that in the original, Aisha was a princess with outstanding abilities and a wonderful character, enjoying popularity among all the people. But that was all. Most aristocrats ignored her, considering her a representative of the lower class. And in the end, she had no power left except the title of saint. The girl understands that she simply does not want the same fate as hers, and therefore says that she wants to help. She just believes in her abilities and invests in her for the future. But they say that people are the best asset, so she thinks that the girl is worth her investment. If she succeeds, let him repay her. Double Baby smiles in response, and then they make a pinky vow. Her interlocutor tells the girl to wait, because she will do everything so that she does not regret it. The main character watching the girl realizes that she has grown so much. Aisha also understands that Bibi is left, which means it's time to study, and she needs to write a letter to her husband, because this also counts as writing practice. The girl also wrote that he should save her before she fell into eternal sleep, because she was only waiting for him, and she also missed him. At that moment, the Duke appeared next to her and asked who she was missing. The little girl was shocked and scared, and immediately closed her letter, but the man insists that he was just asking. The main character looks at his clothes and realizes that it is almost time for dinner, after which she wonders if he's dining out today. The man replies that this is true because he is heading to meet her mother. The main character asks him what he's talking about, after which she screams out, because she realizes that she doesn't have a mother. The girl wonders if someone is pretending to be her mother, but the man tells her not to worry, because there is nothing serious there. Aisha understands that she can't trust family members when they say things like that. At this time, the man suggests that she take care of her hair, and the little girl asks what's wrong with it. Her interlocutor claims that they got tangled while he was combing them, and the lady says that it is clear, after which he claims that they need to be combed starting from the ends. The man claims it's like brushing an animal's fur, and the girl says he's being too noisy, so the Duke should brush it again quickly. To which he agrees. The Duke's assistant tries not to laugh. When the Duke finishes combing his hair, he asks Benjamin to give him a bow, to which he agrees. After which, the Duke does the lady's hair and says that everything is ready. The main character immediately turns to Benjamin and asks how he is, after which the man wants to say that she looks like a poodle. But the main character interrupts him and asks if he thought about it before saying it. Her interlocutor then tells her that she's very beautiful. A little while later, they arrive at the place, and at that very moment, someone addresses the daughter. This woman immediately hugs the baby and claims that she is her mother. The main character asks who she is, and the woman repeats that she is her mother, after which the girl extends her hand to the Duke as if asking him to save her. Well, when she sees the Duke's gaze, she immediately hugs the woman and addresses her as Mom. The woman immediately turns to her darling and says how long it's been since they've seen her. The Duke then turns to the Baroness, and she apologizes for standing up, after which she says that he must be tired from the long journey. But rumors that the Duke and the young master were very concerned about their daughter even reached her native land, after which the man offers to come in and she agrees, and then they go inside. One of the workers points to the place they wanted, and then leaves, claiming that the food will be served soon. And when he leaves, the woman asks the Duke for forgiveness, and the main character asks if they could explain everything. Benjamin claims that there are rumors circulating in neighboring regions, and the girl asks what they are. Her interlocutor replies that the young Master Bastion is engaged starting from the academy students and ending with their parents. The main character asks how the students found out about her, and her interlocutor replies that it was from her letter. The young gentleman said that this letter was from the daughter-in-law. Their main character points to the woman asking who she is. Her interlocutor replies that this is her mother, and when the girl asks him to be serious, the man asserts that she is a loyal vassal of Bastion and a long-standing ally. But since childhood, they have been closely acquainted with the Duke, and since Levi's eldest son will soon become the official heir, he needed a suitable partner, and Aisha his age was someone he trusted for some reason, and she was the perfect choice. Before the master returned to the academy, they hastily held an engagement ceremony. Even though Manet is far away, they decide it's worth honoring their mother with a belated visit. The main character asks if a fictitious family is really necessary to maintain status, and her interlocutor replies that it's something like Togo. The girl claims that she should have said something right away, but her interlocutor replies that they didn't want her to worry unnecessarily. The main character says that this is exactly it, and she should have worried about it more. The girl also turns to the Baroness and asks if she would mind if she were to cling to her on the way back, to which the woman agrees. The little girl understands that if she has nothing to lose, she will spread this situation as widely as possible. And when they are already leaving the restaurant, he turns to his mother. She also says that even if she gets married, she should not forget her, and the woman replies that of course. At this time, the Duke says that his daughter-in-law is not at all ordinary, and his interlocutor claims that he means the same thing. A little while later, the maid asks if the miss has returned, yet to which she replies that yes, and that her stomach is about to explode. But they say that she is now the daughter of Baroness Manet, after which the maid says that this is good, and also suggests that the lady quickly wash up and go to bed. But the main character replies that she has not finished her homework yet. Her interlocutor says that it is already late, so let her get up early and do it tomorrow, after which she says that this is correct, and then she will rest today. But at the same time, someone else is watching the lady, and he asks if this girl is the young Master Levi's fiancée. A little while later, the main character realizes that it has been unbearably hot lately. At the same moment, someone turns to the miss and says that she received a letter, and the girl asks who it is from. Her interlocutor replies that this letter is from Bibi, and the main character understands that this is the first time since the entrance exam. Afterwards, she opens the letter, stating that the appointment is complete. Aisha realizes she's very proud of her. At this time, the maid turns to the miss and says that she needs to go to the living room, but the girl asks why, to which the woman replies that there is an unexpected guest there. The main character asks who the maid is and suggests that she take a better look for herself, and the little girl says that there is no one to look for her, and maybe they confused her with someone else. Well, when the lady turns around, she suddenly bumps into someone and almost falls. After which, the man she bumped into asks little miss if she is okay. The main character, looking at the stranger, answers yes, and realizes that she is seeing this person for the first time. She also notices how this man looks at her and asks who it is, but at that very moment, the butler screams at Taylor. His interlocutor asks why this old man is so loud since he is not yet deaf, but Hugo says that he was planning to wait quietly in the living room. But the man claims that this is the bride of the sad and emotionless young Master Levi, so he could not contain his curiosity. He also addresses the elite and says that she passed, and the girl asks what he is talking about. The man says that the sweetness that his family so lacks is outside of Bastion, and that is very cool. At this time, the butler turns to Taylor and tells him to first say hello to the miss, to which he agrees. The man claims that he forgot to introduce himself, after which he says that his name is Taylor Dumas, and that he is also the owner of La Padems. The main character asks if he is talking about the boutique that belongs to Bastion, to which her interlocutor replies that everything is correct, because he is responsible for the outfits of the Bastion men, who frankly understand absolutely nothing about fashion. Well, in any case, he will finally have the opportunity to do something interesting after such a long break with Catherine. The main character asks if he really made clothes for Catherine, and the man answers that the wedding dresses and tuxedos of all women and men were made by these hands. After which he says that if the lady doesn't mind, he will take her measurements, and the girl says that she doesn't mind. Her interlocutor then smiles and says that Miss Aisha is so generous. When he snaps his fingers, the whole team immediately enters the room and thanks him for the invitation. Everyone immediately says how cute she is, and the man claims that they can make a dress. Someone else says that they will sew on jewelry and stones, and pink will suit her. At this time, the butler looks at Miss almost in tears and apologizes for not being able to protect her, and the main character mentally asks him to save her. She doesn't know how many dresses she tried on in half a day, and still didn't care. After all, she didn't have any position, but now that she's going to become a little duchess, then she will obviously have to dress in accordance with her status and circumstances. But the main character understands that this is all a waste, but it still feels good. After which, she completely understands that she needs to sleep, but after 30 minutes, the girl realizes that she cannot sleep. She also thinks that maybe it's because she's too tired, after which the girl puts on her shoes and goes outside. The little girl understands that if she can't sleep, she needs to go for a walk, but the summer night air is so wonderful. The girl also approaches the stable and greets Queensberry and asks if they are sleeping. Aisha also addresses the baby, after which she calls him by name, and also says how cute he is. Well, at the same moment, the main character also hears that there is someone outside, and when she opens the door, the horse's hooves again, as well as the boy with red eyes. But this time, the young man cries out to Ignite stopped, and the main character wonders what this disgusting feeling of déjà vu is. After which, the lady waits with her eyes closed for the blow, but the horse still manages to stop. Levi immediately jumps off his horse and asks if the lady is okay, and if she is hurt. The main character screams in shock as to what he is doing there, and the guy claims that she did say that she misses him. Aisha asks when she said that, and does he really mean what she wrote in the letter? She also wonders if that's why he came, but the girl also says that the semester hasn't ended yet, to which the guy replies that yes. The main character also asks if he will be punished for this, to which the boy replies that it is possible, and then the lady asks how that is possible, after which she suggests that he return, but the boy replies that he will not go. Aisha understands that he is quite stubborn, after which she says, okay, and then he hugs the boy and says that then they will be together. The next morning, the Duke turns to Levi Bastian and says that there are still 10 days left until the end of the semester, but he arrived in a hurry, having barely passed his exams. The main character says that however he handed them all over, and they ask if this is true. Well, the man tells the girl not to take his side. Levi immediately asks if Aisha is okay, and the Duke says that he doesn't even listen to his words. After which, he even says that the guy is punished for a week, and that he should not leave the room, and also think about his behavior. The main character realizes that she thought the punishment would be stricter, and that she would simply visit him every day. Well, the Duke claims that no one can visit the guy yet. The young man immediately asserts that he objects, but the man says that his objections are rejected, after which he insists that the case is closed and kicks these two out of there. The young man immediately looks desperately into the full view. The main character puts her hand on his and says that she will take him to the rooms, after which the two head off together, and the girl says that he won't even blink an eye how quickly the week will go by, and the summer holidays are long, but she is glad that he passed all the exams. After which, the girl tells him to wait and asks if it is because she told him to pass them well. But since he listens to her so well, why didn't he answer the letter, to which he replies that he was going to write every night? Aisha asks if he was really planning to, and the guy replies that he has so much on his mind, and he thought for a long time but couldn't write anything. The main character thinks how cute he is, after which she claims that they have arrived, and tells the guy to come in. But he doesn't move from his place, after which the lady tells him to come in quickly, because suddenly he gets scolded again. The girl also asks what she should do with him, and what method she should come up with, after which she tells him to think about it, because he cannot leave the room, and she cannot enter it. But she still came up with a way, and a little while later, the girl was already sitting at a table in front of his window. The girl also asks Levi if he will be Madeline, to which the boy replies yes, and the lady says that she is throwing, after which the young man dexterously grabs it with his mouth, and the main character asks him if it tastes good, to which he replies that it does. After this, the little girl tells him to feed her too, but when the boy throws the cookie, it flies past the lady at incredible speed, and the girl tells him to feed her lightly. She also realizes that the method she came up with is a long-distance date. Levi will be on the balcony of his room, and she will be in the garden below him. There she can do her homework or read, while the young man calmly watches her. But at that very moment, someone else approaches them and asks if they can offer the lonely old man some mead. The main character replies that of course she can and suggests saying yes. The man then says that maybe it's because Miss fed him, but this Madeline is the best he's ever tasted. The butler immediately drags the guy away, after which he asks for forgiveness from the miss, and she claims that everything is fine. At this time, Levy asks what she is thinking about, and the girl replies that it would be great if they also grow old, to which the young man with a smile on his face replies that yes, and he hopes so too, after which the little girl asks, "What about him?" And when the young man asks what it is about, Anatoly asks what he dreams about. After this, the young man claims that he did not like this place, but now he loves it and will continue to do so. The main character claims that she will give him only good things, after which the young man smiles and agrees. A week later, the door to the guy's room opens, and the main character tells the prisoner, number 282, that she congratulates him on his release and offers him dessert. The young man asks what this is. The lady replies that prisoners eat it when they leave prison. At this time, Benjamin says that this is where they are, and also claims that the academy has made a decision, and the girl asks what it is. The man replies that the number of unexcused absences will be taken into account in grades, and that this will result in disciplinary action in the form of additional schoolwork in the next semester. The main character says that their Levi Bastian set a record, to which the man replies that yes, and he is in an honorable second place. The girl also asks if they will arrange a date in honor of this, and the man says to tell them to go to His Excellency. After all, a misfortune had occurred. A short while later, the main character wonders if she really needs to go to Bastion Manor because of the monster attacks. But as far as she knows, monsters often lose their minds from the cold, to which her interlocutor replies that it is true, and there are especially many of them in winter. Then the main character asks why this happened in the summer, and her interlocutor claims that sometimes this happens regardless of the season. The Duke claims that their wedding will have to be postponed, but when the girl wants to say something, the young man claims that he has objections. The guy also claims that it is possible to hold the ceremony now, and then go to the estate, and then the man asks what they will look like. He also says that both the dress and the wedding hall will be a complete disaster, and does he really think it's worth rushing so much? After which the boy, a little dejected, replies that they will put it off then. But the main character claims that Rafaidem said that he had prepared beautiful clothes for her, including a wedding dress. The girl also wonders if she puts on a wedding dress, she won't become very cute, after which her interlocutor nods, and a little while later, they are already on the street. Aisha claims that everyone is so busy with the move, and the young man agrees. The girl also says that she will finally meet him, and the young man asks who. The main character replies that she is talking about the young gentleman, who is his younger brother, and his name seems to be Frains. The guy then replies that yes, and the main character asks what he likes and what he doesn't like, because she heard that he has a difficult character. The girl also wonders if he has a harsh character, or is like sandpaper, or maybe like an iron sponge, is silent for a bit after this, and then he heads off somewhere and claims that he doesn't know. The main character wonders what's wrong with him, because he seemed to be in a good mood just now, after which the girl wonders if he is jealous, after which the girl says that, as she heard, the young gentleman is also handsome, and they say that he is a cute and handsome young man, so she can't wait to see him, and they will get along. The lady also claims that she wants to see him as soon as possible, but then she realizes that she has gone too far. It's absurd to say this to someone who rushed home from school because of one of her letters, and it was funny, but it needs to stop. After which, the main character apologizes to Levi and asks if he is angry. Then the main character sees his face, and the young man only runs away after that. Aisha understands that everything is lost, and tomorrow she will try to calm him down again. The next day, the two are already heading in a carriage, and the main character offers Levi a cookie, but the guy doesn't react at all. She also says that if he doesn't want it, then how about some candy? But here he still doesn't react. After which, the main character once again asks her to forgive her in her thoughts, because she was wrong. A little while later, the carriage stops, and one of the knights says that they will rest there today, to which the Duke replies that it is clear, after which the main character gets out of the carriage, and the knight asks Miss Aisha to let her help. However, when the main character is about to agree, she notices the looks of her family members, which seem to order her not to accept help, after which the girl says that she is grateful, but for the sake of peace in the family, she must refuse. When the lady moves on, the Duke turns to his daughter-in-law and says that it is impossible to cheat, to which you reply that it is natural. The main character also exchanges glances with Levi, and he only looks away, after which the girl says that he is an offender. The man asks who it is, and the lady replies that it is his eldest son. A little while later, she asks if he was the same kind of betrothed, and the Duke asks what kind, to which the girl replies that he plunged her into an eternal sleep with jealousy. The man says that if he deserves it, then let her hit him, and then he will be obedient. The main character thinks what this means, and at the same moment, the maid turns to the miss and says that it is time for lunch. The girl replies that yes, but she will decide to tell them one question. A little while later, the main character is already heading after Levi and calling him handsome. But the guy doesn't turn around, and the girl understands that she apologized yesterday and practically crawled at his feet today, but he still ignores her. The lady also recalled the Duke's words that she should beat the guy if he doesn't listen, after which the main character screams that he has a mosquito on his back and removes it. Aisha also asks if it hurts him too, which the guy replies that it doesn't. He also takes the lady by the hand, and she asks where he is taking hers. But a little while later, they find themselves near a lake in the mountains. The main character admires and wonders if he really brought her there to show her. The lady also claims that it is so fresh there and dips her hands in the lake, but Levi immediately grabs her and pulls her towards him, telling her to be careful. The girl immediately turns to Levi and, grabbing his hand, asks if he is still jealous. The guy asks what this means, and the main character replies that he was jealous because she said that she wanted to see his brother. After this, the young man says that this is how it is, but Aisha asks if he admitted it too easily, but she tells the guy that since she said so, then it's good. After which, the main character offers to clarify everything and wants him to listen to her. In married life, there are scandals and grievances over trifles, but she thinks that being silent and running away is wrong. After which, she tells him to imagine if she gets offended at him. That's why she doesn't want to be around him and doesn't say a word and runs away. The girl asks how he will feel, and the young man replies that he hates it. Aisha, she replies that the same thing happened to her when he avoided her, after which the guy apologizes. The lady asks him what he will do next time, to which he replies that he will not do it again. The main character says, okay, and she too will want to see only him from now on. The girl asks if he agrees, after which the young man replies, yes, and they pinky swear. Their first marital quarrel is somehow resolved, and she thought that all that was left was to win Franz over to the estate, but before they arrived at the estate, there was an attack of monsters, and the main character, looking out of the carriage, wonders if she is getting married unsuccessfully. A little while ago, the main character was riding in a carriage, but suddenly she felt cold. Benjamin asked if the lady was awake, but they had just passed through the gate. Hey, the girl wonders if they had arrived. When she looks out the window, the man claims that this place is the Bastion estate. The lady realizes that it is more ordinary there than she expected, but at the same moment she saw a monster. The girl immediately turned to her father-in-law, but he insisted that she was about to fall. The lady turned to him again and claimed that a monster was approaching there, after which she screamed for the two to be saved. She also wonders why no one is helping them, but at that very moment the woman deftly picked up a pitchfork and cut this monster apart. The main character watches this in shock, and Levi asks if Leon is okay. A little while later, they are already near the Bastion Palace and are greeted there. One of the maids comes out to greet the master. The man claims that Franz is said to be feeling ill, to which the woman replies, yes, but he hasn't fully recovered yet. The Duke asks, what about the Cazadores? And his interlocutor replies that they're all by the wall, after which the man says he'll join them immediately. The main character asks what all this means, and Levi replies that the Cazadores are monster hunters, and the wall is a barrier built to block the spread of monsters. After which, the main character says that it is clear, and she also claims that Levi is smart. At this time, the head maid tells Mrs. Aisha Manet that it is an honor to meet her. The woman also introduces herself and claims to be the head maid of the Bastion family, and she will also do everything to make her feel comfortable while she stays there. The main character wonders if she really said she was delayed, and she doesn't understand why this woman speaks as if she will soon leave this place. The maid claims that the lady has come from far away and is probably very tired, so she will prepare a bath and food. At this time, the main character asks if Levi will take her to her room, and when the maid wants to say something, the guy immediately agrees and says that he will take her, after which they head to the estate. but at that moment, someone is watching them, after which the main character hears some kind of stomping. A little while later, the girl is already in the bathroom, saying how wonderful it is. The room is so beautiful, and the dinner they had with Levi was very tasty, and the water in the bathroom was hot. At this time, the maid turns to the miss and claims that she will wash off the foam, to which the main character agrees and thanks her. Well, when the woman pours out the water, it turns out to be very cold, and the maid immediately becomes concerned and turns to the lady. She wonders why the water is cold and if the lady is okay. The woman immediately picks up the girl in her arms and screams that she will throw more wood into the fireplace, after which they are already sitting near the fireplace, and the woman apologizes to the miss and also claims that she needed to check the water before pouring it on her, but the girl tells her not to worry so much. The woman claims that she will talk to those who went to get water, but the girl also replies that everything is fine, because they were probably up to their necks in business. The main character also looks out the window and realizes that it seems even colder outside. She also wonders if her father-in-law is okay. Aisha wonders when he will return, and her interlocutor replies that she is not sure, because he will not return until he is sure that the monsters are not trying to get behind the wall. The lady also asks about that wall, but still yawns, and her interlocutor wonders if the lady is tired, after which she even suggests that she go to bed quickly and give her the towel, to which the girl agrees, after which the woman wishes Miss goodnight and does the same. But when the baby falls asleep, someone comes into the room, puts out the fireplace, and also claims that she doesn't like the girl. A little while later, the main character already feels cold, and she remembers her past life. There, the little girl asked her dad where he was going, but he didn't even turn around to face her, after which the little girl asked her grandmother where her dad had gone, but the woman replied that her dad was a pity and a brat. The little girl also remembers telling her grandmother that she was cold, but then someone turns to Miss, after which the girl opens her eyes in shock. She asks if it is Betty, and the woman claims that she thinks she was having a nightmare, so she decided to wake her up. She also wonders if she is still cold, and claims that she threw in some more pellets, so it will get warmer soon. The main character asks if the fire has gone out, and her interlocutor replies that, yes, it is her fault, because she put the firewood down at dawn and thought that it would last until the morning, after which the maid apologizes to the miss, and the girl replies that everything is fine because mistakes happen. It would be better if she helped her get ready to go out, since she and Levi decided to go to the dining room together, to which the woman agreed. A little while later, the main character turns to Levi and wishes him good morning. She also asks if he slept well, to which the boy replies that he did. After this, the main character says that it is true, and that yesterday she decided that she wanted to go visit Franz. The guy asks if she wants to visit him, to which the lady replies that yes, because he is sick and cannot leave the room. She also tells the young man to remain calm and listen to her. The guy must be so lonely being sick alone, and she claims that Levi's brother is sick, and then asks if he is worried. But the guy replies that he is Bastian, and the main character says that it is true. Well, in any case, she offers to visit him together and say hello at the same time, to which the guy agrees. He also says that the lady can cheat on him, and the main character immediately asks what kind of joke this is. After dinner, the two are walking down the hallway, and the lady says it was delicious, but she's so excited after eating. However, when the lady wants to move on, the guy suddenly notices something strange, after which he stops the girl and pulls her towards him. While the main character asks what happened, water pours from a bucket behind her, and the girl looks at the puddle in shock. She also thanks Levi and wonders if it is a coincidence, and that a lot has happened in a short time. Suddenly, crows appeared and attacked Aishu, after which there was a trap in front of her. The main character wonders what this is, and whether this is some kind of welcoming event in the style of Bastian. But she came out too aggressively. Well, when the girl thinks who could have done this, the guy closes her eyes. The main character wonders what this sudden touch is, but out of the corner of her eye, she sees a mouse that is not alive. The girl immediately turns to Levi and says that she is fine, after which the girl approaches the mouse and realizes that these wounds are as if she was pulled out of a rat trap, after which the main character realizes she needs to bury this rat. Levi turns to the girl, who insists that she said everything was fine, after which the girl prays that this rat will certainly go to a good place. The lady also claims that she is going to wash her hands, and the guy offers to go together with her, But the girl refuses and claims that she will go alone. The girl also suggests that he wait for her there and understands that she will not be able to find out who is bothering her if she goes with Levi, and otherwise she will become a meat shield. The main character thinks that no matter who tries to bother her, she is there to take revenge on him for every dead rat. But when the girl runs into the lobby, she thinks why there is no one there. Answer: there was always someone there. But she even has some kind of bad feeling, after which the lady stands on a puddle and slips on it, falls down completely, and the maid asks what that sound is. After which, he sees Miss lying on the floor and screams for someone to bring a stretcher and a first aid kit. The main character wonders who it is, and if they'll see again. A little while later, the main character is already touching the wound on her forehead. The maid immediately turns to the miss and asks if she has come to her senses, and if she is feeling dizzy or nauseous, to which the girl replies that everything is fine. After this, the woman tells the lady not to worry, because even as a junior duke, he will not be able to joke like that anymore. The main character wonders if Franz really did this, and understands that, although he is a strong candidate, this is not something a 7-year-old boy could have arranged. After all, there was an attack by flying crows and the digging of a giant hole. The little girl also asks if he wasn't sick so much that he couldn't even meet them, and the woman replies that naturally he was pretending because he often did that before. In any case, let the lady not be afraid and not attach any importance to this. And also the older duke, who usually did not frighten him, this time frightened him anyway. The main character wonders if Levi scolded this guy, to which the woman replies that of course, because when the owner is absent, he is responsible for order and discipline in the mansion. The maid also says that he seems angry, and the main character asks why she is so unsure, to which the girl replies that this is because, for the first time, she sees the eldest duke angry. The main character at the same moment says that she will go, but her interlocutor tells Miss that she should rest some more. The girl replies that she is fine, and asks where he is now, to which the woman replies that they are both on the second floor in the junior duke's room. But when the lady approaches there, then he hears someone screaming that it wasn't him. Servants are also crowding around them. The main character comes closer and realizes that there is such a serious atmosphere there. At this time, Levi turns to Franz Bastion and claims that he told him to tell the truth. But at that same moment, the girl turns to Levi and grabs his hand. The same guy asks if she is okay to, which the little girl replies that everything is fine. She also looks at Franz and understands that he really is a beautiful boy. But when she looks at his hands, she understands that he is sick. After this, the young man wonders if this scarecrow is his brother's bride. But the main characters are not interested in whether he really wants to plunge into eternal sleep. Levi stops the girl, and then approaches his brother and tells him to apologize. Aisha says that this is true, and let him apologize for the lie that she is ugly. And Levi also says that he should apologize for what he did to her, because it would have been unlikely if the girl had not woken up. The main character turns to Levi and asks if he was really going to put her into eternal sleep by stepping on her. Franz immediately cries out how many times he has to repeat this, because he didn't make any oil or other traps. He admits to the rat that he did it because it just happened to be caught in a mousetrap, and he wanted to scare them a little, but he is hearing about everything else for the first time, because why would he do these senseless things? However, his interlocutor tells the boy not to lie because he did it just like then. He lied that he was sick because he wanted to see you. But when the Duke arrived at the estate and saw the boy in perfect health, he only sighed, after which he claimed he was returning to the mansion. The young man then turned to his father and insisted he was wrong. And now the boy with tears in his eyes insists that he is not lying, and the main character understands that this is too much. She also thinks that she should act as a mediator and tells Levi to first calm down and listen to Franz. Well, at that very moment, the maid stands in front of the guy and claims that it is her fault, so let her be punished. For not taking care of the younger duke as the person responsible for the estate's affairs, she will accept any punishment. After this, the guy tells Eva to get up and then even claims that until her father returns. Franz Bastion should be careful. He also suggests that Aisha leave, to which the girl agrees, looking at the boy and the maid in surprise. She also wonders if she's imagining things, or if she's genuinely uneasy. Franz asks if Eva is okay, to which the maid replies yes, and she's more than fine. The day after Levi's fall, he doesn't leave the main character's side. The girl turns to the guy and asks if he can relax his gaze a little, but the young man replies that it is impossible, because suddenly someone else wants to harm her. The main character also looks at the paper airplanes thrown out of Franz's room as a protest, and understands that this is a big protest. The girl also turns to Levi and asks what the relationship is like between Franz and Eva. The guy replies that after his mother left, Eva always looked after him. The main character realizes that 6 years have already passed since his mother fell into eternal sleep, and she literally raised him. But even so, Franz was too embarrassed. At this point, the main character looks out into the street and cries out that there's snow. She wonders if it really snows at this time of year since it's summer now, to which the young man nods, and the girl insists that it is impossible to just sit there, after which she suggests changing clothes and meeting in the garden. But a little while later, the little girl asks if she can't go out too, which the maid replies that yes, Rafidem hasn't sent her clothes yet, and the little girl wonders if she can't go out even if she wraps herself in a blanket. The woman replies that it is impossible because she is going to play in the snow, and the lady has only recently recovered, but the little girl insists that she wants to play. At that moment, someone knocks on the door and apologizes to the missus. One of the maids insists that these are clothes the young master has outgrown, and if she doesn't mind, she can wear them. The main character wonders if Franz sent her, and the woman replies that as far as she knows, the head maid recommended it. The little girl asks if she really did it, after which she realizes that she has some kind of strange feeling, but she thinks that nothing should happen, after which she even says that since the clothes have appeared, she can go out too, which the maid replies that yes. A little while later, the main character runs up to Levi and asks how long he waited. When she sees the boy's face, she wonders what happened, and the boy wonders if these are Franz's clothes. The little girl replies that yes, it is cold outside, so she borrowed it. Levi says that he also has clothes, but the girl asks what he is talking about. She also thinks that you just have to look because this cutie is so jealous, after which the main character invites the boy to make a snowman, and a little while later, she is already rolling a ball. But when she approaches Levi, she sees that he is holding a much larger ball in his hands. Franz at this time looks out the window, and the main character lying on the ground says that she is so happy. But at the same moment, she feels something strange on her leg. The guy asks if her foot is uncomfortable, and then takes off her shoes, and he sees that the garter belt is stuck because of the snow. The main character says everything is fine, but the young man immediately lifts her into his arms. A little while later, the maid asks why they have already returned, but when she sees the lady's leg, she screams in horror. The girl asks why they are exaggerating so much, but a little while later, she herself screams in pain. The lady claims that it is very hot, and the woman suggests that she hold on a little longer because she needs to rip off this strap. Usually, winter boots are waterproof and covered with some kind of wax, but these are completely wax-free. The main character wonders if someone got rid of it on purpose and sent it to her. Sure. Levi immediately gets up and wants to scold Franz, but the main character tells him to wait because she has a proposal. The girl understands that things that a small child cannot do are a mockery that she would hardly notice if she did not have insight. The only one who can blame Franz for all these troubles at the same time can only be Eva. Levi asks if she has a guess, and the girl wonders if he won't even ask about it, after which he replies that he believes her. Then the main character asks if he will help her, and the next day when the maid is packing the Duke's outfit, she approaches him and tells him to come back quickly because she misses him. But at that very moment, someone screams at Eva and tells her to open the door. The woman then turns around irritated, and when she opens the door, she sees the main character there wishing her good morning. The maid also wishes good morning to Miss Aisha and asks why she was looking for her this morning. The main character replies that she wants to go play in the annex with Levi. The woman then apologizes, but claims that Bastian's treasures are kept there, and this is not a place for games. And the main character says that she is curious, and maybe she can go with her too, which the woman replies that it is difficult. The girl decides to use her weapon and screams that she will marry Levi anyway, and these keys will become hers. Usually they are controlled by the missus, but now she is not there, so the girl is just guarding them for a while. The woman then says that someone like her remembers Miss, and the main character says that all Bastians are like that, and Levi too, after which the little girl asks him if this is true. The girl also says that Ava is not a Mrs., but the woman thinks that this girl should not be mistaken. After which, with a smile on her face, she says that she obeys her will. A little while later, they are already approaching there, and the little girl asks Levi if he has been there often, to which the boy replies that he has not. After which they go inside, and the girl says that it's so much fun there. She also turns to Eva and tells her to open this door, and when they go inside, the girl says how many jewels there are, and it's so cool there. The main character understands that now she needs to throw the bait, after which she turns to Levi and claims that she blued something while she was going there. The little girl asks if he can go look for it, to which the boy agrees, and the main character thanks him, saying that he is the best. The girl also claims that there are so many interesting things there, and when she is going to touch one of the stones, then the woman slaps her hand. She then apologizes, claiming she didn't mean for the lady to ruin a precious family heirloom. Aisha apologizes and claims that it was so beautiful that she did it without thinking. The main character also says that it seems like there is all this amazing stuff there. There is an incredibly beautiful sword there, as well as a ruby larger than a fist, and the auntie who acts like a stepmother when she's not there. This only makes the woman angry. But at that very moment, Levi returns and claims he checked everything and there's nothing there. After this, the little girl says that it seems she was mistaken, and thanks Levi. At this time, the young man asks what happened to her hand and whether she was hurt, to which the little girl replies that it's nothing serious, and the young man says that it's swollen. After which, the girl tells Levi to carry her because her leg hurts, to which he agrees. The girl also says that they will go first, and when they leave, she sticks her tongue out at the maid. As they walk down the street, the little girl realizes that no matter how much she thinks it is disgusting, this woman took advantage of the absence of the hostess and placed all the blame on Franz. But all this is possible because Franz valued Ava very much. The girl also asks Levi if he also likes Ava, to which he replies that he does not. The main character wonders if this is true, but she thought that he valued her because he treated her in a special way. The young man replies that it is because Franz likes her, and then the main character asserts that she can tell because it seems to her that Ava is the culprit. The guy at the same moment claims that he will destroy her, but the main character suggests that he calm down because they don't have evidence yet, and the young man says that even if there is none, at that very moment the main character replies that this is impossible because they are needed, and only then can she be tortured. She also thinks that the aunt should just wait because she will pay for her hands, legs, forehead, and for Franz. At that very moment, the door to the room opens, and Ava appears there, asking for forgiveness, and the main character yawns and says that she scared her. The little girl also wonders what happened this morning. The woman claims that one of the relics in the outbuilding has disappeared, and the little girl asks what happened to Togo. The woman claims that she is the most likely suspect, after which she tells him everything so that they should search. And when Betty gets angry, the main character claims that everything is fine, after which she asks if the woman will call Levi and agree to something. A little while later, one of the maids claims that she found the relic, and Eva sighs and says that, as expected, Aisha stole it. And then the little girl says that she was caught. Ava asks what she is talking about, but at the same moment, someone else turns to Aisha. It turns out to be Levi, and the main character turns to him, after which she claims that they found the jewels and asks what to do. The boy replies that it's okay, because she can just pick it up and play with it again later. But the little girl insists that's not right, because Ava told her it was very precious and that she shouldn't touch it with her hands. Betty asks Miss if she scolded her, and the main character replies that yes, and she even cried a little, so Levi offered to take her away for the day and secretly brought her. The girl asks the boy if it's true, to which he nods, after which the main character approaches the maid who found the jewel and hits her on the hand. The woman asks what she's doing, and the little girl screams that she can't just touch that thing because Ava will scold her just like she did. At this point, one of the maids asks if the woman really hit Miss, and that's impossible, isn't it? Only the head maid. But at that same moment, the boy approaches the girl and tells her not to cry, because in any case, everything in Bastion belongs to her. Another maid also says that this is true, and let the miss not cry, because now she will be responsible for the extension, and when she becomes the mistress, she will be able to take whatever she wants from there. but the main character says that it's still better to return it to its rightful place, after which she turns to Eva and tells her not to mess around and to return her thing to its place. To which the woman replies that the order is accepted and leaves. When everyone leaves the room, the main character lies down on the bed and sighs, saying that finally everyone is gone. The young man says that Aisha is incredible, and the main character asks why, to which he replies that everything happened exactly as she said. As they walked down the street, the girl claimed that while he was gone, she'd thrown Ava a lot of bait and was sure she'd respond soon. Perhaps she'd set her up and make her look bad. But today she was in the building, so it was the perfect time to lie about stealing. That's when Aisha's sweetness will kick in. The main character also asked him how he liked this plan, to which the young man replied that it was excellent. The maid turns to Miss and asks if Eva did it, and the girl replies that she did. Betty immediately claims she'll destroy her, but the main character tells her to calm down. She understands that this is also important, but right now the most important thing is to rescue Franz from Eva, since he's the main victim there. The girl also understands that if the family is in danger, they must help, but to do so they will have to reveal Ava's true nature to everyone. The girl also says okay, and since she calls her a raven, she'll steal for real. A little while later, the little girl is already getting the Duke's outfit from that room and running down the street with it. Franz looks out into the street, and the main character screams for Levi to try and catch her. Eva, meanwhile, insists that this is mean and stupid. If a girl is going to live in Bastion, then she should know her business and let her not dare to behave as if she is the mistress there. But the more you look at her, the more the girl resembles the mistress, who has plunged into eternal sleep. The young gentleman also looked like her, so the owner. But at that moment, the woman hears someone screaming to Eva, and when she looks out the window, then he sees a girl running around with the master's suit and screaming at her to come out and play with it. Franz wonders why she's running around with his father's clothes, while the maid spills tea on her hand. The young man, shocked by this, asks her if she's okay, but when he tries to touch her, she pushes him away and then leaves. The boy then says she must have been very surprised and that she doesn't usually hit him, so it must have been his fault. A little while ago, the young man asked if his father and brother would really leave the estate, to which the man replied that yes, Levi had to go to the academy, and he would soon be very busy, and Franz could handle it alone. The boy then replied that of course, since he was one of the Bastions, and the maid sighed, after which the man said that the boy should then have a good rest, to which he agreed. But as soon as the Duke walked out the door, the woman claimed that they had abandoned him, and that their young master was so poor. The young man claimed that this was not true, since his father had simply left for a short time, and the woman said that she had already pointed out more than once that he did not look like a member of Bastion. He cries and laughs a lot, and is also too sensitive, so the Duke left him using his busy schedule as an excuse, because no matter how annoying he is, it will be difficult if he falls into eternal sleep. The boy then asked if he would come if he lied about being sick, so he lied. His father, rushing to his aid, missed out on an important deal, and his brother had to conduct the entrance ceremony alone. Ever since then, when he says he's sick, they don't believe him and tell him not to lie. Just like they did when his brother accused him of something he didn't do, the young man realizes that, this time, he really wasn't lying, and it was just a small whim. At this time, the maid runs into the room where her costume was supposed to be, and when she bursts into it, she sees that the mannequin is empty. The main character returns at this time and claims that today was so much fun, and she was so sweaty. The little girl also suggests playing some more later, but at that very moment, the woman turns to the mistress, and the little girl, seeing Eva, asks what happened after, which the woman waves her hand. He's about to hit her, asking how the girl dared do that, but someone stops her and asks her to stop. It turns out to be Franz, and the boy tells her to get some treatment first, while the main character wonders if Eva is hurt. The woman then sits down on the floor and tells the lady to return it, and the main character asks what she's talking about. The woman also asks if this isn't her clothing, and the little girl asks if that's really true, since this item belongs to her father-in-law. The woman replies that it's an important thing the owner entrusted to her. She also recalls how not long ago the man draped this cloak over her and told her to accept it as an apology for the morning's misunderstanding and her bad mood. So now she's telling the lady to just return the clothes. Well, the little girl replies that she really did take them from her father-in-law's closet. One of the maids at this time turns to the head servant and says that the miss really took the master's old clothes and they chose them together. She asked if there were any clothes that she could put on and play with, and then another maid told her not to laugh in response to something. She apologizes but claims that she simply has a lot of misunderstandings today. At this time, the little girl turns to Eva and brings a cape, after which she asks if the clothes she was looking for have been removed. The woman asks how she found it, and the main character replies that it must have fallen since the thing was under the window. But this doesn't look like a maid, since you'd think she'd gone crazy. After which, the main character throws this cape in her face and also turns to Franz and asks if he also likes sweets, because they are going to eat cookies. A little while later, the girl claims that Betty did a good job, and the maid replies that compared to the attempt on her life, hiding the clothes was a piece of cake. At this time, the main character looks at Franz and wonders why he is not eating, after which she asks if he really needs to be fed. Then she shoves a cookie into his mouth, and the boy cries out, "What does that mean?" The main character asks him what he's talking about, after which the boy replies that the Bastons don't like sweets, but the little girl asks him what he's talking about, and he wonders who decided that, after which the boy says that it is correct, and when he bites into the cookie, his brother asks if it is tasty, to which he replies that it is. A little while later, the main character turns to Franz and asks for permission to ask him a question. The young man asks how she knows, and the lady replies that it's a woman's intuition. At first, he didn't want to bother her and was just waiting for attention, but the young man asks what she knows, after which the girl replies that she often saw it. However, when she wants to talk about it at the shelter, she stops you and claims that she often saw little black kittens who were just as deprived of love as he was. But the young man asks what she is talking about. The main character replies that she is talking about little kittens, but the young man claims that she herself is like a little puppy. After this, the little girl says yes, and she is as cute as a puppy, after which she asks what the result is. She also asks if he still likes Eva, to which the boy replies that yes, but he knows that he can no longer be near her, and if Eva is happy, then she is happy, and if she is sad, then she is sad, and if it hurts, then it hurts both of them. And the main character says that she thinks it's because of deep affection, but if he was really dear to her, then she wouldn't drag him into her pain. Levi then gets up from his seat and apologizes to his brother for saying that he was lying. He talked about this because he didn't want to experience those emotions again, and the young man asks what they are, to which he replies that it's anger. After which, the boy asks why they didn't pour out, to which he replies that it's because in addition to this, they were worried about him. After which, the guy strokes his brother on the head, and he starts to cry, and the main character immediately says that Franz is crying, and then immediately wipes away her tears, and claims that he is not crying. The girl also claims he has a runny nose, and the boy cries out that it's running. A little while later, Franz says that they will now hand Eva over to her father, and they can tell him everything together. Well, the main character asks if he is joking, after which the young man asks what she is talking about. The girl claims that she has been through so much, and shouldn't they leave her a terrible gift as a keepsake before leaving? The boy asks what it is, and the main character replies that she is talking about a game of hide-and-seek. There was nothing special about Eva Monji. Her look skills and background were all average, but it wasn't like she was lacking anything until her family went bankrupt due to her father's debts, and she was sold to the Bastian family, after which she was introduced to the Duke, or the woman claimed to be at the service of Master Wolfgang Bastian. These are the dukes who have the devil's red fluid flowing through them. The girls with the red liquid of the gods, whom they took as companions, were people regardless of origin, but she still thought she had a chance. Before he found this, and a little while later, the Duke returned to the estate with a lady and claimed that he found her on the way. This woman made the cold owner laugh and joke. The woman of unknown origin who became the new mistress of Bastian is that damned Catherine. And now he also brought Aisha Mane and this cunning little girl. So now it's her turn. Their woman claims that she has waited so long, so she will plunge her into eternal sleep. But at that very moment, she hears someone knocking and asks who it is. But when no one answers, she thinks that maybe she misheard. However, someone knocks again, and the woman grabs the lamp and then comes out screaming, "Who is there?" However, there is no one there, and the lady screams, "Is there really no one there?" At the same moment, she hears some sound, as if something fell. The lady also says that it's a bit scary there, and maybe she should stop. But at that very moment, someone grabs her hand, and it turns out to be Franz. The boy also tells her not to go there because it's a trap. And the woman says how much he looks like her, but she so hated those purple eyes behind the mask. After which she raises her hand and screams, so that the young man does not look at her name. Then she pushes him down the stairs, and when the young man turns over, the woman immediately runs up to him, and getting ready to grab him, tells him to be careful. But when she sees those eyes again, she immediately moves away, after which the boy falls. But at that very moment, candles are lit all over the house, and when the maid looks down, she sees that the boy has been caught by the servants, and they are asking if the young master is okay, and if he is hurt. Someone else says how scared he must have been. But at the same moment, someone else turns to Eva. It turns out that the main character and the little girl are wondering what this means, and the woman replies that it was a mistake, and the main character is wondering if pushing the boy off the railing and watching him fall is, in her opinion, a mistake. But she squandered the last chance Franz gave her with her own hands. Leon, meanwhile, points to the woman and orders her taken to prison. A little while later, Franz is already lying wrapped in a blanket and says that women are so ugly that he cannot trust them. But the little girl insists that she is also a woman. The boy asks what kind of woman she is, and the little girl wonders if he really considers her a man. After which the young man replies that she is his daughter-in-law, and the main character smiles. The girl says she understands how upset he is, but it's okay because he has his father and Levi. The young man inquires about her and asks where her family is, but the main character wonders where her husband is since he's there. The boy insists he's not talking about that, but at that moment, someone else enters the room and asks if they're okay, since he heard the news and came running. It turns out to be Benjamin's. The man insists that if they had problems with the maid, they should have told him about it long ago, but the main character says that everything has already been resolved, so everything is fine. She also wants to ask something. The main character snaps her fingers, after which the maid brings the Duke's cape. Aisha asks if he recognizes the garment. The assistant insists it's His Excellency's jacket, and the girl replies that it is, after which her interlocutor reveals that he wore it 6 years ago at Catherine's funeral. Aisha wonders how he still remembers it, and the man asks why he shouldn't. But in any case, the girl says she was with Eva, after which his interlocutor replies that it's true, since His Excellency himself covered her with it. The main character, shocked, asks what he's talking about. The girl is already imagining various scenes, but thinks it can't be true. However, at that very moment, the main character hears a rumble in the street and cries out, asking what happened. Afterwards, she looks outside and sees a multitude of monsters, and the maid shouts for everyone to be on full alert. Levi claims there are more monsters than usual, and the protagonist asks how many there usually are. The boy replies that there are no more than 10, but now there are many more. The boy immediately turns to someone, and a knight appears next to the young gentleman, after which the guy tells him to bring his sword, and Franz tells him to bring his bow. The main character asks if they will also go catch monsters, to which the two reply that of course they will. The little girl asks if it's really dangerous, to which one of them replies that despite the danger they need to go, because they are bastions, after which the girl asserts that then she will go too, because she is also a bastion. A little while later, they find themselves on the street, and the girl tells Levi that they need to go, after which they move on, and the young man cuts down one of the monsters, and the main character says that he fights so well. The guy asks her if she's okay, to which she replies, yes. Despite the disgusting smell that makes you want to puke, everything is generally fine. Then the young man invites her to go inside and rest for a while, but at that very moment, someone says what they want, and the two look at each other. But at that very moment, a flying monster appears and looks at the main character, after which they again hear the voice saying what it wants. The monster then heads toward the main character and declares what it wants to see. Well, when he almost attacks them, the guy deftly cuts him down, and the main character asks if Levi heard this too, to which the boy replies that he did. The main character realizes the monster is talking. She's never seen anything like it, even in the original, and maybe she missed something. One of the knights cries out to the young master, claiming he missed one in the middle. But when the little girl turns around, she sees the monsters. Levi immediately leaps onto him and slices him down. The maid insists that medium and small children usually don't get in here so easily, but she doesn't understand why things are like this today, to which one of them insists it's probably because there's a vacancy in the line. The main character asks what, but then realizes that when Ava was sent to prison, the rumors that those who were in collusion with her were also checked and caught, since it would have been too difficult for her to carry it out alone. There are a lot more monsters than usual, and considering all the empty spaces, that's a lot of pressure. The girl immediately jumps off Levi's shoulders and asks where the underground prison is, to which the woman replies that it is located there near the wine cellar. Then the little girl suggests going quickly and getting the people, but Levi grabs the girl's hand and tells her to stay there as he can't protect her when she's in his line of sight. The main character replies that she'll quickly return, but the boy says it's dangerous, after which the little girl asserts that she also wants to protect him, and turning to Betty suggests they go. The two then run off, and a short time later arrive there. The woman also turns to Miss and tells her to find a wine with a red label in the far left wine cabinet, and she will guard the entrance. The little girl agrees, claiming she'll be right back. Afterward, the girl runs into the cellar and searches for the red label, after which she notices one of them and the keys behind it. But at that very moment, she hears a crash. Then the lady goes down into the prison, and as she runs past Ava, she cries out angrily at her, but the lady insists she's not there. The little girl turns to the others and insists there are a lot of monsters outside, so they should come out and help. One of them asks what that means, and the lady replies that there's no time to explain, and if they don't want to fall into her father-in-law's hands, they should come out and fight right now. She also asks if they understand, then says, okay, and then she'll open it. Then the girl asks how. One of them says that if she looks, there's a hole for her thumb. She should insert it until it clicks, turn it, and then it'll open. And also that she'll get away with treating her like that. Then the little girl collapses and realizes the woman is dragging her. The little girl also sees Ruby and mentally asks the spirit to help her in hide and seek. The woman cries out that this is her ruby. The main character realizes she never returned it. She also wonders why it's her ruby, then cries out that it belongs to Bastian's master. The girl throws the ruby in the woman's face, wondering if it really worked, but she almost fell into an eternal sleep, after which the little girl understands that she needs to run quickly. A little while later, she is already leaving the prison, and the woman asks why Miss was late, after which the main character, with a smile on her face, claims that a strange beetle has stuck to her. The little girl also suggests they hurry and help Levi. The boy stands in front of a horde of monsters and realizes he should cut them down now, as it will be easier to deal with the monsters behind him. It's all he can do to protect Aisha, but at that moment, someone calls out to his son, and he wonders why he's alone. The man claims it's the front line, but the boy says he needs to take care of the monsters ahead if he wants to protect Aisha. His companion replies that this is the correct judgment, after which he offers the boy to go, to which he agrees. A short time later, the maid fights, and the protagonist helps the wounded. Franz Shi also helps out by shooting a bow, and a little while later, someone cries out that the owner has arrived. The main character runs up to Levi and her father-in-law and jumps on them with hugs, telling them they've done a great job. The man announces that she's arrived, and at that very moment, Franz also runs up to them. The main character says that since her father-in-law has already arrived, who will they be now? Franz then yells at her to wait. But when the lady leaves, the young man hesitates a bit, then apologizes, and the man asks what he's talking about. The young man claims he wants to apologize for lying about being sick. His interlocutor insists it was a bad move. Franz is almost in tears at this point. He realizes he asked first, but he was shocked to hear it firsthand. The Duke says he'll be honest, because he didn't know how to handle him, and it was difficult. Laughed a lot, but also got angry. He felt lonely and loved people. The boy wondered if this wasn't like the Bastions, and his father replied that it was definitely unusual. However, he asked the young man's name, to which he replied that it was Franz Bastion, and his father replied that this was correct, as he was one of the Bastions. But the young man insisted that he wanted to become a Bastion like his father and brother. The man asks if this is true, after which he claims that he is glad that the boy is not like them, because he looks like the mother he loved, and his mother is also one of the Bastions. After this, the guy says with a smile on his face that this is true, and at this time behind the door, the main character, almost crying, says how well everything turned out. Well, at that very moment, the Duke opens the door and asks if they were eavesdropping, to which the girl replies that they just wanted to make sure for the sake of peace in the family. But she also wonders why he has already left, to which the man replies that Franz was so happy, but he still needs to worry about something else. A short time later, the Duke descends into the dungeon, and when the maid sees him, she hopefully turns to her master. The man asks if she knows why he appointed her chief servant. The girl asks what he's talking about. The Duke says it's because she was useful, and even though she was rotten, Franz felt comfortable around her. But how dare she harm his child? The woman replies that she did not cause Herr Franz any physical harm. The man immediately replies that he's not talking about that, because he has 3 children, and 2 of them suffered emotional and physical trauma because of her. He then goes on to say that the woman is fired, and then in shock asks how he can treat her like that, since she was babysitting the young gentleman. Wolfram turns to Benjamin and tells him to sort this out, to which the man agrees. When the Duke leaves, the woman merely cries out to her master, but the Duke's assistant insists that he will deal with her because she made the young master and Miss suffer. A short time later, the protagonist smiles and realizes that this morning was very cheerful. First, Eve was driven away, and her father-in-law sent her the remaining maids. She also asked about the relationship between Eve and her father-in-law, which greatly troubled her, but the man claimed that he covered her with a cloak because I was afraid that Franz was cold. And the second thing is that she received a set of keys that only the owner can have, and later when she gets angry, she steals Ruby from the house. Meanwhile, someone else approaches the place, and it turns out to be Betty-O. The woman claims that the clothes sent by Raphael have been delivered, and the girl asks if this is true, and also understands that the most important thing is that the wedding dress has arrived, and that tomorrow they have decided to have a wedding with Levi. A little while later, the wedding day arrives, and Levi is waiting for his bride, after which the main character approaches him with a smile on her face and asks how long he's been waiting. He asks if she's definitely okay with having the wedding in such a small place, and the girl replies that she's told him so many times that it's okay because she was the one who wanted to have it there, and yet now she will live there, and this is the most special ceremony for her, after which the girl asked if he understood, but if he wanted to spend more time together. However, at that very moment, the young man replied no. And then the lady said that they had moved on, after which she invited him to go to the waiting room, after which Levi walks down the aisle first. The Duke looks at the little girl and then claims that when they first met, she said she would be his daughter-in-law and that her husband was in Bastion. The lady also said other strange things. He thought about taking care of her for a bit and sending her away, but everything really turned out just as she wanted to, which the little girl replies that it's true and it all seems like a dream. The main character also wonders where the real Aisha went and whether she was really sacrificed as a saint and plunged into eternal sleep at an early age. The lady also wonders if she has gone to a good place, after which she hopes that this is the case, and then she who has taken her place will feel less guilty. The girl also asks the Duke to tell her something as a new daughter-in-law, and he asks if she is doing well, to which the girl replies that she always does well, and he replies that it is obvious. But the lady also says that it seems she can live even better in Bastion, after which she suggests going, and then someone announces that the bride's exit has arrived. The Duke's assistant, observing this, says that Aisha is really getting married, and the Baroness suggests that he stop crying because he will be misunderstood. The main character also sees Levi, but when she's about to approach him, the Duke lifts the girl into his arms. The young man tries to take her away, but the Duke prevents him, after which the main character pushes him away and tells the 2 of them to leave. The little girl then continues on, but when she turns around, she asks why her husband isn't following. At that moment, the girl trips over her dress and begins to fall. Levi immediately runs up to her and grabs her, saying that the lady looks very beautiful today. He also apologizes for being late in bringing this up. Aisha claims that she will make him happy, and he will not regret his choice, so she will do everything possible. The girl also asks if he believes her too, which he replies that he does. A short time later, the main character is already lying in bed and realizes how tired she is. The girl heard that the ceremony was held in a hurry, so only visiting families came, but there were still a lot of people. Now the young man claims she's a good girl, and the main character with a smile on her face asks if they'll go to the wall tomorrow. The boy asks what she's talking about, and the girl claims she's talking about the dark wall and suggests they go to Cassador. Her interlocutor claims that it is dangerous and asks why she needs it. And the girl replies that now she is also officially a bastion according to her documents, and if it becomes dangerous, he will protect her, to which the boy replies that yes. He also asks if she told anyone about what they heard that day, to which the little girl agrees, understanding that the monster is a creature believed to be the spawn of a demon. If she revealed that only they heard its voice without proof, she would be wrong. They would be considered demonic heretics. Levi is a descendant of a demon, so it's not surprising for him to hear them. But if she, a saint, revealed this secret, she would be executed at worst. So the little girl understands there's no easy way out. At this time, the guy turns to the girl and asks if he should kiss her, which causes the girl to become shocked and ask what he is talking about. The guy claims that they are now married, so it's okay, but the lady says that's not the point and asks why it happened so suddenly, to which her interlocutor replies that she seemed depressed. The main character asks him to wait, but at that moment, someone opens the door and asks what they are doing there. It turns out to be the Duke and Franz. The main character immediately screams and asks what they're doing in the newlyweds' room. The man replies that it's just a formality, so he told them to meet and leave immediately. The girl replies that they were resting, and that's why they forgot. And Franz immediately approaches his brother and asks if he's okay, to which he remains silent. The main character suggests that they all sleep there together, since she's too lazy to go to the room. The man asks what she's talking about, but the little girl insists that if they don't want to, then they don't have to. Levi immediately insists that he does, and the Duke also says that nothing can be done. Franz says he also wants to sleep with his brother. And so the night passed peacefully, and the next morning arrived. When the main character is about to go to the wall, the maid claims that no one but her would go on a honeymoon to the dark wall, in response to which the main character only smiles. The woman then tells them to drive carefully, and the little girl agrees. A little while later, she realizes everyone there is looking at them sideways, and the guys reply that it's because of the ceremony. From their point of view, the next owner and mistress appeared, so they are curious. And the little girl says something like this, after which she looks out the window and greets them. The residents immediately greet the little lady with smiles on their faces. Franz says the girls love it, and the main character says he's so jealous, after which the two exchange glances. A little while later, the main character is already falling asleep, but at that very moment, she hears a rumble, and the Duke says that it seems to be a monster, after which the little girl asks why they are so calm, to which the man replies that there are 3 bastions there. At this moment, someone cuts down the monster, and the man claims there's a squad behind them. A short time later, they're already exiting the carriage, but at that very moment, someone cries out that it's Cassador's power. He greets the new owners, and the main character replies that she is pleased to meet them, after which she bows and states that her name is Aisha Bastion. Afterwards, the main character hears someone calling her cutie, but looking at their faces, she wonders if she's misheard. At the same moment, someone else turns to His Excellency and asks if he can show the little lady everything. The other knights say what a scoundrel he is, but the young man suggests that they keep quiet because the little lady will like him, and he doesn't look as scary as they do. The main character insists that next time she won't be scared, and the knights again comment on how cute she is. One of them, after a brief moment, offers to take her safely to the ruins, and quickly return, to which the girl agrees. A little while later, they are already heading there, but the little girl does not have the same endurance as the knights, and she wonders if she is imagining it, or if this place makes her shiver and makes it hard for her to walk. At this time, Levi offers his hand to the girl, and she thanks him, and one of the knights claims that this is the top, after which the little girl complains of muscle pain. But when she looks at the view, she wonders if this is the dark wall, but it doesn't look like a wall at all, and if you look closely, they've even pitched tents next to it. The main character claims they're guarding her so close and asks if they're scared. Her interlocutor replies that they are a fortress and a pillar, the last stronghold of the empire, and part of the bastion. After which the girl says that they are all really cool. A short time later, they head back. The lady understands that the inspection of the walls had to be completed earlier so as not to interfere with Cassador's hunt, and in contrast to worries about whether she would encounter any large monsters during her stay there, she was happy that she was able to meet several small monsters, to hear their voice. But no news is a good thing, so she hopes she never hears it. However, at that very moment, the girl smells a red liquid and wonders if something has happened in the mansion. When they approach the gate, the girl realizes that no one comes out to meet them, after which she is about to open the door. But at that very moment, the maid looks out from behind it and asks if they have really arrived. The woman also claims that they are earlier than they thought, and one of the maids asks if they are already back, and another servant shouts at them to quickly clean up and set everything up again. The maid asks them to wait outside for a bit, but at that moment, she slips on a puddle of red liquid, after which she falls, and the main character asks if she is okay. After which she looks around the mansion and wonders if this is a Halloween party. The woman explains that they wanted to greet the little lady and congratulate her on her wedding, so they prepared a party, but masked strangers suddenly burst into the house. They wanted to give young Master Levy a few good memories before he left for the academy. Another maid tries to stop her, but it's too late, and the main character wonders if she'll ever be alone again. Betty suggests her mistress not cry, and Levi insists he'll write to her. At this point, the Duke's assistant says he'd like to say something. The man asks if this is the imperial family, and his companion asks how he knows, to which the man replies that it's obvious since they burst into the kitchen with it, after which he points to the bottle. The man asks if it's poison, and his interlocutor replies, "The States have a drug that causes infertility, and it's especially effective on young girls." The Duke asks if it's a wedding congratulation, and if they've been given a gift, they should repay in kind. The Duke's assistant asks if he's considering sending mercenaries to the imperial family, and the man replies that it would be a hassle to deal with the consequences, to which Benjamin replies that that's true, and if you try to comply with them, they'll stick around even more. The Duke insists they need to show them their warmth. Benjamin, meanwhile, is trying to avoid overtime and says that warmth itself should be kept to a minimum. Meanwhile, the man talks about the crystal fountain in the imperial palace and asserts that they would destroy what was most precious and beloved, to which Benjamin, almost in tears, agreed. After a party thrown by the workers, the girl decided to ask her father-in-law to tell her everything about Bastion, because she was now one of them too. The man said he would introduce her to a special lecturer, so she wonders who it is. A little while later, Benjamin enters the room, apologizes, and announces that he'll be giving the lecture on Bastion today, and that his name is Benjamin Cooper. The protagonist wonders if he's the special lecturer the father-in-law was talking about, and the guy asks if she has any objections. The man also throws books on the table and claims it took a lot of work to get them, and the girl asks what kind of books they are. The man says because she said so. He wants to learn more about Bastion, so he's prepared books on history and the environment. She'll have to study this amount today, and the protagonist realizes she's doomed. 5 hours later, the man continues his story, insisting that only in Chapter 7 about Jose Bastion. It received an official name, and what had been called the Silent Forest, after the monster invasion, became the Forest of Sorrow. The black fog that enveloped it was so chilling that it was called the Dark Wall, or as it is usually called in the Bastion, simply the Wall. The guy also asks how far along the wall the lady walked today, and she replies that she reached the ruins. The man says something like that, after which he asserts that the ruins themselves have a history full of ups and downs, and the girl realizes that he doesn't seem to care that she's nodding off. The man claims that if we were to talk more about Jose Bastion, he often engaged in monster extermination. The Cazadors, who had previously been close to mercenaries, became an official organization, and he established discipline to improve their effectiveness. The main character says that it seems Chapter 7 didn't particularly like monsters, to which the man replies that he lost his bride at a young age during a wave of monsters, and the little girl understands that no one before her has fallen into eternal sleep, so it doesn't seem real. But because of the monsters, even the children fell into eternal sleep. But she misses them, and as soon as she remembers that voice, she feels strange. She feels melancholy bitterness, and this voice conveys a feeling that a monster couldn't possibly experience. But the protagonist says that José Bastian's reign as head of the clan was short-lived, and he didn't fall into eternal slumber at an early age. He didn't marry, and no one expected him to bear heirs. Therefore, he gave up leadership to his younger brother, and the main character asks why he could already remarry. But his interlocutor replies that he could not forget his fiancée, and the girl claims that it happened in childhood, and the man replies that it is because he is one of the Bastion. At this point, the protagonist notices Levi, and the teacher suggests ending the lesson and asks how she's doing today, but the little girl replies that she felt very powerless. However, this only further amazes her, as they didn't give up in such a situation. After which, the lady moves on, and Benjamin says that's enough, and the girl becomes a full-fledged Bastion. A little while later, the main character asks if the guy has packed everything, to which he replies, yes. The girl also asks if he's leaving tonight, and he asks if he needs to hurry, to which the guy replies that he can stay for a couple more days. But then people reply that no, and it's better for him to leave early to get there safely. After which, she also says that it might be better to leave tomorrow. The protagonist also recalls the teacher's words about the Duke not marrying, because he couldn't forget his fiancée. The lady also thinks that if Bastian's love is so reckless and lonely, she wishes Levi didn't love her so much. Well, the little girl also says it seems too late, and the young man asks what she's talking about, to which the girl replies, nothing. A little while later, the main character suggests sleeping together again tonight, before Levi leaves Franz, then says that they're not kids anymore. And the main character says that whoever wants to can raise their hand. The little girl also claims that Franz eats vegetables so well, but Levi and her father-in-law don't, to which the boy replies that it's because he looks like his mother, and the girl asks if she liked vegetables, and the boy says that she liked sweets too, after which the main character says that's how it is. She also sees the expression on the Duke's face and asks if something really happened, and he replies that he remembered something about his wife, and the little girl asks what it was about to, which he replies that when she was alive, he might not have eaten enough carrots, and the woman pointed this out, after which she became interested. What is this? The Duke replied that it was a carrot, and his companion asked why it was left behind. He replied that he wanted to eat it. The lady then turned to her husband and insisted that if the head of the family continued to eat so selectively, what would happen to the other children? He wanted to reply that everything would be fine, but the woman immediately cried out, "Is he saying okay?" She also started slapping him on the shoulders. Now the man claims that if he didn't eat vegetables or desserts, she beat him. A little while later, they knock on the main character's door and ask if they can come in. The girl tells them to come in quickly, and the Duke asks what's on her mind, and the main character wonders if it's really that obvious. Initially, she asked them to sleep together for the sake of family harmony, but if you think about it, it's connected to Bastian's magic. The girl also claims she remembered something there, and the boy asks what else, after which the girl claims she didn't see her mother-in-law. Her interlocutor asks what kind of nonsense this is out of the blue, and the little girl insists she's like a daughter-in-law. She should go and visit her grave, but the young man replies, no. The protagonist asks what he means, and the young man replies, there is no grave. Aisha asks why, and the Duke replies it was necessary. The lady asks what that means. Franz asks what is wrong with her, and the lady understands that despite all her innocence, she considered herself Bastian, but she knows that this is not true, so she became even more attached. But then she heard about Catherine and thought that a foreigner like her could not even have a grave. The little girl asks how there can be no grave, even if it's a will, and how low that is. Levi then uncovers the girl's grave and says she'll suffocate, after which the little girl apologizes and claims she just suddenly felt sleepy. But at that very moment, the young man lifts the blanket and lies down next to her. They both cover themselves, and the young man says he'll do as she wants. The main character asks what he's talking about, and the young man replies, anything. And the lady insists it's incredible. She also wonders why the guy says exactly what she wants to hear, and he replies that it's because he likes her. But at that very moment, the Duke removes the blanket from the two and declares that they have decided to get married rather than date, after which the little girl replies that it's not so. Franz immediately lies down between the two and declares that he will be next to his brother. Then the main character pulls the Duke along, and they all lie on his arm together, and the girl says, "It's the merging of the bastions." The man claims it's even awkward, but the little girl insists he'll get used to it quickly. A short time later, they fall asleep, and that night, the lady has a strange dream. It involves two eggs that address her as Mother. The protagonist thinks this can't be true and wonders what they are. At the same moment, Levi turns to her and says that these are really their children, after which he asks if she doesn't remember, since he and she are in the attic. But at that very moment, the main character screams and gets out of bed. She's also wondering what this dream about eggs was, but when she looks around, she realizes everyone has already left. She immediately runs out of the room, and the maid asks the little lady what happened. The girl asks where Levi is, and the woman replies that the young master has left. And the girl asks when something happened, replies that he left early at dawn and said he'd never seen her sleep so soundly, so he and the master asked her not to wake her. The main character asks how he could have not said goodbye, after which the woman pulls out a letter and claims the young master asked her to give it to her. The girl unfolds the letter, and it says that he will definitely get an A on his next exams and will miss him. The main character almost cries, realizing she will miss him too. A short time later, the girl is already learning etiquette. Franz tells her not to cling to the cup with her fingers, but to do it lightly. She held it, but when she couldn't do it, the young man screamed like a panther, because her hands were shaking. A couple of days ago, the girl claimed that she wanted to learn etiquette, and the Duke asked if there was a need for it. She replied that she didn't want to be neglected, not with the last name Bastian, after which the man asked if she had chosen a teacher, and the main character insisted. Franz said he would train her. The young man asked when he'd said that, but the girl simply asked him to help, after which the Duke said they'd offer a reward. Points from France. He'll give her a gift. The main character said it was excellent, and she'd definitely get 90 points, and also vomit, or rather accept the gift from her father-in-law. Now the main character realizes she said it so boldly, but it's harder than she thought. At this point, he tells the lady to straighten her back. She needs to sit up straight. He also claims it would be quicker to eradicate the tea ceremony from the world. Well then, one of the maids claims that the mistress has become much better, and that the cookies are spilling fewer crumbs, and it's almost impossible to hear her putting down a cup. The girl replies that it's so noisy outside that she should be able to hear the cup. The lady also wondered why it was so noisy these days, since they wouldn't even let her see, after which one of the maids insisted the lady would find out later. So time passed. One day in late autumn, the girl was sitting in the garden drinking tea. She demonstrated excellent manners, and the young man watching her simply replied that he was giving her 1 point. The main character, shocked, asked him what he was talking about, and he replied that he was giving her 91 points, at which point she jumped happily. The lady also insisted that she would go get a gift from her father-in-law, but the young man suggested she wait as they weren't finished yet. When the lady approached her father-in-law, he insisted he wouldn't be able to give her a gift. The little girl asked him what he was talking about, as that was exactly what she was waiting for. So he asked her to wait an hour. The girl then insisted she could wait that long and sat down on the sofa. But at that moment, she heard a crash, and when she turned around, she saw a maid at the window greeting her mistress. The main character greeted her with a smile on her face and asked if the hired men had come again, to which the woman replied that everything was as usual. Aisha claims she'd also like to know how to protect herself, at least to which the man replies that she needs to protect herself from others. So why would she need it? But the girl replies that if her life were in danger, she wouldn't even be able to do anything about it. Her interlocutor says that this makes sense, after which he insists that they should call Baroness Manet after a long time. The protagonist wonders why he suddenly wants to sleep with her. But at that very moment, someone addresses His Excellency and asserts that everything is ready. The man now rises from his seat and says that he understands, after which he approaches the lady, and extending his hand, suggests that she go as her gift is ready. The main character says that this is great, but a little while later, she finds herself blindfolded, and the man claims that it is a surprise, because it was not for nothing that they kept it a secret. A short time later, the lady claims to smell grass and is unlikely to be a dog. The man unblinds her, and the woman sees a greenhouse around her, asking when it was all built. One of the maids claims that if this is an order from above, it's from above. They could even move a mountain in a day. Everything from the design to the materials was personally chosen by the owner. The main character asks if they're talking about her father-in-law, but the man insists he was going to give it to her for her birthday 6 years ago, but the funeral happened first. The little girl wonders if she also loved flowers, to which the man replies that she loved all living things, and the main character says that she is a sensitive person, after which she bows and thanks the Duke, and also states that she is very happy. She also claims that the clear-cut Catherine would definitely have said the same. The Duke then replies that it's true. A month after the lady received the Bastion greenhouse as a gift, winter crept up unnoticed, and she battled the cold daily, and the girl realizes she still can't get used to it. To such cold. At this point, someone approaches the little lady and claims that the priests of the Sacred Kingdom have arrived. The little girl asks if this is true and says she'll go check it out. The woman asks why the lady in the blanket is responding to something, that this is to hide her pretty face. The woman understands that the young lady is a good person, but sometimes she behaves very strangely. The main character understands that she didn't want to hide her beauty. If she were caught, she would be sent to the temple. But when the girl sees these priests, she wonders if that's all her father-in-law told her, that every year the Holy State sends its reapers and holy knights to support them. Support is a good thing, and the girl rejoiced. But when she looks at the servants, she asks what is wrong with them, and one of them claims that he doesn't know why they come every year, because all they do is eat their food, and the other says that it would be better if they didn't come at all. Aisha understands that of course no one likes her behavior, and that they can't be dealt with because of the high priest's seal. One of the temple workers claims to smell a foul devil. The protagonist realizes that if Noir had Bastion, she'd be right. Then, for Lumiere, the equivalent was the family of high priests of the sacred state, when on half of Lumiere Noir descended onto a barren bastion. Then, Lumiere planted the only tree on the most fertile land, and this is the world tree. At that time, Lumiere himself identified the boy and made him the guardian of the tree, and he became the first high priest of the future sacred state. It is thanks to the Kate document that this story has been preserved to this day. A member of the people is born a high priest of the sacred state. When there are 5 leaves in bloom, it is difficult for an ordinary person to bloom, even 1 leaf. So Hakat was the proof and the goal that all the priests of the world were striving for. When Aisha, who is not even a member of the high priest's family, had 5 leaves, it caused a storm of indignation, and the little girl understands that the situation has changed greatly, so it is unknown what will happen, and their main character is wondering when they will leave. The woman replies that she doesn't know, and that they usually stay until the full moon. The protagonist wonders if this means she needs to hide for half a month, after which she seems to be asking them to leave, and she also mentally asks Levi to return soon. After the full moon, the main character is in the greenhouse, admiring the roses, and saying she didn't realize it when they were still in bud, but her father-in-law gave her golden roses. Her companion says it's truly beautiful, and the main character claims she wants to show this to Levi as soon as possible. The maid claims she actually wanted to tell her that the young master said he'd be arriving late because there was a lot of snow. The young man understands that the shortest route was blocked by snow, but then he remembered the girl and asked if the horse could fly. But the girl said that the boy also asked, after which the young man said that if he overcomes this route, he will give him 50 carrots, and the horse claimed that it was easy. Now the main character is trying not to cry, and the maid is trying to calm her down. A little while later, the girl is already looking out the window, and Franz asks what she's doing, to which the lady replies that she's waiting for Levi to arrive. She wants to meet him as soon as he arrives, and the boy then replies that he will too, after which the two sit and look out the window. And so 1 day passes, then 2, and then 4. Levi arrived home. He turned to his horse and claimed that he had worked hard, but at that very moment, the main character and Franz ran up to him, after which they dropped the guy on the floor and welcomed him home, and the young man claimed that he had returned. When the main character saw the guy off, she insisted that he not open his eyes, to which he agreed. And a little while later, they found themselves in the greenhouse, and the girl said that now he could open his eyes. The young man looked at all this and was surprised, and the main character asked him if he liked it, to which he replied that he did. He also looked at the girl who was smiling brightly, then approached her, and the main character asked what was going on. The young man silently asserted that he hoped she would be with him forever, but then he said nothing. A short time later, the Baroness tells the lady to maintain her posture and compose herself, and to use her muscles and inner strength to lift herself. A couple of days ago, the Duke asked if the lady had said she wanted to gain strength to defend herself, and the girl asked if he remembered. The man also asked if there was the weapon she wants to learn to control, to which the girl replied that she wants to control a whip, and the Duke replied that it suits her, after which the little girl asked if this was a compliment, to which he replied that he did not know. A couple of days later, she had to run holding a log, and the Baroness claimed that everything starts with physical training. But the little girl fell and claimed that she could no longer do it, after which the woman claimed that they could stop with this and continue tomorrow. Levi wipes the girl's forehead and asks if she's really having a hard time, and the girl replies that she's sad because she wanted to go on a date with him during the holidays. Franz tells him not to fall for it because she's just looking for an excuse to relax, and the girl suggests he keep quiet. The young man also says that she can simply finish classes if she doesn't want to go, but the little girl replies that it's not like that, but she also understands that it's really a shame because when the winter holidays end, Levi will return to the academy again. But there are only 10 classes at the Rev Academy, which means that from the moment of admission studies last 10 years. Levi completed 2 years, meaning there are still 8 years left. At that very moment, the girl hears someone talking and wonders if someone has arrived, after which she peers into one of the rooms. Meanwhile, the Duke tells someone he's refusing his marriage, and the other person insists that this is unacceptable. The man says that unfortunately, their daughter-in-law doesn't want to study, and the main character wonders if he really thinks she's a fool. His interlocutor at this time is wondering how he can change his mind about rejecting the recommendation of Her Majesty the Empress, and how shameless it is on his part, since he even dares to touch her jewelry. But the man claims that they touched these jewels first, and his interlocutor then asks if he really means to say that he doesn't care what happens to Levi's marriage certificate. But it's so hard because he heard that they haven't looked at it yet, and the main character thinks, hasn't their marriage certificate been processed yet? If they are aristocrats in the Mansi Empire, they are obligated to present their marriage certificate to the imperial court. A marriage is only recognized if the certificate bears the emperor's seal and then a list of aristocrats. They cheat immediately. This means she's not yet officially a bastion. The imperial court hasn't yet accepted their marriage. The imperial court that mocked Aisha in a past life. He does it again, but at that moment someone covers the lady's ears. It turns out to be Levi, and the boy tells her not to listen to this, after which the main character agrees and understands that it is not the time to lose her mind. If they say that only by accepting the Empress's recommendation will they approve the marriage certificate, then she doesn't know what it is, but she will definitely marry Levi. The girl immediately cries out to her father-in-law and insists that she will accept it. The man asks if she even knows what it is, to which the girl replies that she doesn't know. But isn't it hers to decide whether to accept it or not? After which, the main character tells him to give it to her, and the man claims that she is, after all, a baroness from an unknown province who does not know etiquette. But when he turns around, he sees 2 boys who are looking at him menacingly, and at the same moment, the man opens the scroll and claims that Her Majesty the Empress has issued a decree for her to enter the Rev Academy, and the girl in shock asks what he is talking about. A little while later, the main character asks how this is possible, and the young man claims that everything has already been decided, so nothing can be done. But the girl says that it seems they are happy about it. The girl looks at the 2 of them. Levi is already studying at the academy, and Franz will be enrolling at the same time. The girl also wonders what kind of place this Rev Academy is. The man replies that this is the place where he and the Duke graduated from, and all the Dukes of Bastion graduated from the Rev Academy, after which the main character is surprised and claims that the competition for admission is simply crazy, and it is like a war. But at the end of the day, it's a normal school. Students gather together, socialize, and make friends. But there are those who don't. The main character asks why Her Majesty the Queen decided to send her to the academy, and the man replies that if it's about her, it's her. However, the Duke interrupts his assistant and claims she's a psychopath, but the girl asks if that's even possible. Benjamin asserts that Her Majesty is not the biological mother of His Majesty the Emperor, but that she raised him as her own son. That's why His Majesty the Emperor always follows her will. The main character asks if she's not a good person, but her interlocutor replies that being a good mother to her children doesn't mean being a good person to others, and the girl asks if that means she's a bad person. The man replies that, as Empress, she commands well-deserved respect, and she's simply a little unusual, so it's unclear why she wants to force her to enroll in the academy. Frankly, understanding her thoughts is much more difficult than understanding any academic discipline, and the main character says so. She hopes they'll never have to meet, but then the girl asks what they're looking at. Someone else replies that the imperial family can only write a letter of recommendation to Rev Academy once a year, and that it's the greatest fortune and the greatest honor for the recipient. Since she received such a valuable gift, it's only natural to thank her. The main character cries out, and the Duke suggests she might as well rip it apart, to which the girl replies that she can't, and so she'll soon find herself in the imperial palace. The lady spent her days training for combat and learning etiquette, so time flew by, and the day of departure for the imperial palace arrived. The little girl sitting in the carriage wondered whether she should jump off now. The girl was worried about meeting the Empress, but there was someone else who worried her even more, and that was Mercedes Giovanni Augustus Diamanta, who is the crown prince of the empire and the main male character in the novel Lotus from the Mud.